Eric, how much money is enough for you?
They will do it to you, they will do it to your mother, they will do it to every single person they can convince to sign up to their website.
How much are your viewers' lives and future actually worth to you? He's either selling you on becoming a gambling addict or selling you on getting out of the addiction. I don't know. What is that supposed to mean? It's like selling cigarettes outside of the lung cancer clinic that you own. That doesn't make any sense to me.
You are 4 times more likely to attempt to kill yourself than the average person if you are a gambling addict.
MKAndy, how are you, man? Welcome to the stream.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here today.
100%, man. Well, Keith, how are you?
Best day of my life, man. Thanks for being here, Andy.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for having me. Super, super stoked. This is going to be a good time.
Oh, 100%. So just, by the way, chat, I can't see the chat for whatever reason, so I'm unable to pop things up. Asipa, can you see the chat?
Yeah, it's not pulling up for me.
Okay, cool. Hopefully
we're chatless.
Yeah, we're chatless. Oh well. We'll try to use the YouTube stream and go that way. But MKAndy, I'd love to hear more about your origin story. So obviously the little trailer thing gave people a teaser, but I'd love to hear directly from the source. What is it that you do? What kind of content do you make? What are you passionate about?
Man, that sounds awesome. That's we could just talk for days on that.
Go for it.
That intro is super sweet, by the way. Thank you guys. I love watching what you guys put together. It's super cool. So I am Andy. I am a long time in the marketing world. So have done graphic design and marketing campaigns and stuff for multi-billion-dollar companies. Just have a background in it. I was self-taught in a lot of ways with things, but also went to school for some of it. And I kind of like to say that everything in my life has led to this recent surge in the content that I'm making right now, which I like to call anti-gambling content, and more specifically anti-gambling marketing, because with my background, I'm able to kind of pick apart and look at some of these tactics that these crypto casinos, brick and mortar casinos, these different businesses are using to bring more people into their products and to say, hey, this is what's happening. And if I can help educate and arm some people on what is happening and why this is so effective and why this industry is so interested in bringing more people in, especially young people, then I feel like I'm able to do a little bit of good in the world, I guess, and fight back in whatever small way that I can.
Love it, man. Keith, what do you got?
No, I mean, so you got a little bit of a personal story as well of some of the things that you've seen and gotten involved with. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of that too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I am so passionate about the gambling marketing and this idea of educating people, because I myself struggled with gambling addiction right from the ripe age of 18. I know the last time we talked, I read a comment. Somebody was like, he was 18, but he was gambling. That doesn't make any sense. How's he doing? He was buying drinks with his buddies. Listen, I'm from a place where it's okay to do these things at 18. They let me do it. And so I started gambling even before that. I had family functions and stuff. We'd play for nickels and dimes and quarters and stuff like that. And it just kind of, it fostered this curiosity of what is gambling? How do I make fast money with no strings attached? And yeah, I got hooked on it. I mean, we can talk, you guys can pick apart and ask any questions you want from that whole journey, but really from the beginning to the end, to stop gambling, it was just like a snowball effect. It was a little bit extra, a little bit more, going a little more frequently, increasing the bets slowly until I found myself just hating being there, but still a compulsion to go. And I was like, this has to stop. I got to figure it out. And that's where I'm at now. So I'm happily not participating in gambling anymore. Definitely not to the degree that I was. And also trying to make a positive impact for other people.
Love it, man. And you've been able to get some traction on YouTube pretty rapidly here. How does that feel for you?
It's a blessing, and it's truly a dream come true. I mean, like, it's really amazing just to kind of like even pivot to like a creator conversation. People who want to make content on YouTube and like YouTube and this social media world that we live in, um, I guess it's kind of a double-edged sword because the content that people make, everybody wants to be a content creator. It's like the most sought after job in the entire world right now. You ask anybody from age 13 to 25, that's what they want to do. They want to make content, be a streamer, be a YouTuber, Instagram, whatever. Um, and so for myself, I feel very blessed, very fortunate that I've been able to find this success. But this success is like, oh no, my camera did the thing it was doing before we went live. Oh no, I will do my absolute best to fix this. Brutal, brutal.
Page or whatever.
Sorry?
If you refresh the page, you can join back in again if you fix it that way.
I think it's actually my my capture card is glitching out. So I'm going to plug it into a different USB spot. Give me half a second. I'm so sorry.
You're good, man.
No
All
problem,
good.
dude.
Happens, man. That's the beauty of the live stream, man.
That's exactly.
We get to experience it with the people. But yeah, if anyone watching this has not seen MKAndy's content yet, I definitely recommend going to watch those. We'll break down some of the specific figures that he's researched. But for anyone who may be coming to this cold, gambling marketing, gambling creators have become absolutely massive. And there are some figureheads at the top that are very well known, like that Mickey Mace guy, I think his name is. Yeah. And then there's Eric that promotes it. Like basically every major creator in many ways, like so many of them, not everyone, but they promote or are related to some sort of gambling company. He's back.
I'm
cool,
back.
Man. I'll give you back. I'll give you the keys
hopefully
back.
Figured it out.
Cool.
I'll do my best. I don't know what's going on. It's never
good,
done
man.
that before, ever. Of course, the one day that we've got something live happening, it's like
no stress, man. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, you were talking a little bit about Mickey Mays. I was talking about I'm super blessed to be in the position that I'm in, but it's decades in the making. Like I've been making YouTube content since I was like 12. Like it's just been kind of part of my life. And one of the things that I love about content and making content and the people who pursue it is people look like they're overnight successes. You see my one video with Eric get almost 500,000 views. And for me, that's like incredible. It's amazing. And all these people are seeing me for the first time. But this is like, what is the saying? It's like luck is opportunity and preparation coming together. I think that's what it is. It's like I've just had the preparation for a long enough time that I saw the opportunity. I took it and I got rewarded. I'm blessed. There's other people that are kind of still on that journey and they're maybe looking for those opportunities and it just hasn't hit yet. But I'm super excited that this has hit and it can be something that A, I'm passionate about, but B, that I'm also able to hopefully grow and develop. It's not a one-hit wonder, I'm hoping.
No, I think that people will gravitate towards the effort that you put into your videos, man. You can feel it, right? And then I think also the timing of a lot of people are feeling this pain, right? Which is obviously why we're trying to help with the problem as well. And I think it's a really good point to mention there, the fact that you've been doing this for a very long time before, right? And you've also been working in YouTube too. So a lot of people will see your videos and they're like, how does someone be this good, this fast? He's been doing it for a very long time. So I think it's also important to mention that to people. People always think that it's always like 10-year overnight successes. Right?
Exactly. Yes. And I think the other thing too that's really interesting, just social media in general. I mean, we could talk so much just about like the social media problem that our culture is facing, not just a gambling problem, which is more predatory and more devastating because of the financial effects that it has on people. But even this social media decline into like, you see all these 18, 19, 20-year-olds driving Lamborghinis and living this crazy excessive life. A, most of it is fabricated. Most of these people are not living this lifestyle. B, we forget about these statistics. Like stats are real. If you look them up, you'll be able to find out, what is true and what isn't. Most men don't even start to hit their stride until their 30s. That's when men start to become successful. They start to actually accelerate in their career path. They really start to drive themselves to be better versions of themselves. And so these guys who are and I'm speaking as a guy, but dudes are trying to fast track this success that doesn't happen for most people. You have to have this anomaly happen in your life to find that success before you're 30. And so I feel it's really neat that I'm kind of closing in on that milestone in my life and hitting these strides of success and kind of seeing the statistics play out.
We use that word on the show a lot, when I'm referring to social media, is the anomaly thing, right? Like social media algorithms rewarded anomalies to the point where they seem like the norm. And that's really distorted people's view on themselves pretty traumatically, right? I think that's true for women and men in different ways, but I'd say almost in equal ways, right? They're different
Absolutely.
for their own things that they're susceptible to, but it's pretty tragic. I think a lot of men are really struggling with the desire to be successful so much. And I think that's completely connected to why people are resorting to gambling, because they feel like it's their only way out and they have to be a success. Otherwise, they're never going to get married. They're never going to meet a partner. They're never going to be able to do all these things. And so they resort to gambling. And that's something that I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about. But you're right. They are tied together, which is why we made No Dice to stop the whole doom scrolling and gambling thing, because they're so interconnected. And I think that anybody saying that they're not is just not looking at the totality of the problem. But Keith, looks like you got something.
No, not at all. But it's definitely fascinating to see how I was just on a podcast called the Log Out Podcast a few weeks back, and like
How was
I was
that?
watching some of that. It was awesome.
Good.
She's super cool and like sees these problems, log out pod, like trying to get people to think about the different consequences that all of these things have on our minds and on our lives. And yeah, it's super fascinating to think about how just how deeply intertwined these things are as well, from the perspective of like the algorithms being used, right? So let's say Instagram, Facebook, the Zuckerberg camp, you've got Elon and the X camp. They've all been spending billions of dollars researching like what does it take to get people hooked into using their platform, right? But in a sense, because the fact that these platforms are being used by everyone, if you're able to kind of reverse engineer any of the things that they've done, you've got a lot of just an entire society that has invested in how to get people addicted to technology, right? And so that transfers right over into the gambling industry in particular. They get to use all of these things that they've done. They get to use this against people. And Andy, you were just talking about before the show, talking a little bit about young people being targeted. And that's a part of this that's also pretty fascinating and messed up, because I mean, there's so many different reasons why. First, the younger you get somebody, the longer of their life that they have to be susceptible to these problems unchecked. But then also, like, these are people who don't have necessarily like the especially young men. Let's go ahead and say it out loud. Young men, right, are not able to make decisions about their future, right? Their brains aren't developed. And so it's a lot of things that are wrong about that. But I'd love to hear what you have to say about any of that you've seen in young people being targeted in particular.
Yeah, well, and I think so there's a couple of paths we can go down that. The one that I think is really interesting is social media and gambling. Those two things, when young people get involved, rewire how your brain works so that they become dependent on them for basically ever. And so if you get somebody hooked young, let's just start on social media. Now it becomes a norm. It becomes a daily thing. It becomes a habit. And you get those same pathways in your brain. It starts out as a little footpath and it turns into a concrete slab that becomes way harder to change on your brain. It's like, well, I have to jackhammer this up. I got to completely level it. And I have to make a whole new path to rewire how I feel about what I'm doing. And the exact same thing happens in gambling. So if you're able to get these young guys and even girls, I had a thing, oh my gosh, I was out with my wife just at like a store, and this girl and her boyfriend were walking kind of past me, and I heard her and him having a conversation about the denoms that she was betting on Dragon Link. And I was just like, this girl didn't look old enough to be in a casino, and they're having a casual conversation while they're out spending time together about a casino, about somewhere else. They're not even living in their moment right now. All they can think about is going back and their strategies or whatever. So it's just so pervasive. And again, these young people who are getting hooked, they become lifetime buyers. They're going to put money in for the rest of their life. Statistically, they are going to just be an incredible cash cow for these casinos. And at the end of the day, they don't care. They don't care if you give them $10 or $100 or $1,000. They want profit, and it's $10 in 8 seconds if they sit at a slot machine. Like, it's fast, quick, easy money that you lock in for years to decades. It's wild.
Yeah, it is insane. And kids are so susceptible to this, especially because they're groomed to think it's normal, regardless of what they're doing, right? Even if the kid is playing video games and the parent is okay with them playing video games, it's nearly impossible for a kid to play a AAA video game today and there not be some serious gambling mechanics built in.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible, right? And so when you
It
grow,
is. Even like my son plays Mario, and like I'm okay with him playing Mario. And there's still stuff in the games where I'm like, we got to be careful. Like, this can't be completely unchecked because
it's freaking Mario.
And it's Mario. It's like the most friendly child game out there, the most like kid safe brand of Nintendo. And you still have to be like, we should probably keep an eye out on this. I mean, even the cards, like Nintendo owns Pokemon and stuff. Like, they're just creating a whole new generation of collectors. And because you can chase your losses, you're actually a collector because you get a cool card at the end of it.
It is insane. We've talked about the whole Pokemon card thing too. I believe in collectibles as an asset class. I believe in that growing, and I believe in people that actually really like that. But most of the people who are buying Pokemon cards right now, they're gambling. And I think that's the distinction.
And a lot of the people who are, it's actually fascinating how tied together the content creation and gambling side of things are, because and people are looking at these gambling creators, and whether it's somebody who's doing card pack opening streams or somebody actually going to a casino hitting a slot machine, you're creating gambling content for audiences to consume and watch and understand what these mechanics are. It's kind of like it's so funny how we can just equate things to history. It's like the smoking world of smoking being promoted and sold to you by doctors, and you could smoke in a restaurant everywhere.
I actually remember that, man.
And all of the people would like, you'd get the secondhand smoke. So you aren't even participating in it, and you are still receiving the negative impacts of it. The exact same thing is happening on social media right now, where a 13-year-old whose parents are maybe as involved as they can be with parental controls and regulating what their kids are watching, how do you even tell your kid you can't watch a guy open Pokemon cards? Like, they don't even understand the long-term implications of it. But as a parent or as somebody who's in charge, that is your job. You have to be aware of it. And it's so subliminal. It's so sneaky. Even parents don't quite understand what's happening.
And can you guys break that down a little bit? Because if I'm someone who doesn't know anything about Pokemon or Pokemon cards, like, why does that resemble gambling in any way?
Do you want to take that, MKAndy, or do you want me to take it?
Well, you start. I want to hear what you got to say, and I'll fill in whatever I got after.
Okay, so all these different feedback loops dictate the feeling that you get when you play, right? That's why basically there was, after all this studying that had been done, and the smartest people in the world were there for how do we capture attention, people found that the gambling companies had already done a lot of this work. Like slot machines, that intermittent reinforcement was one of the most addictive things that comes to mammals. And this is not just humans. It's monkeys too. Wow. They were like addicted to that intermittent reinforcement. So what that means is basically when you push the button, it's more addictive when you don't know what's coming next, because that potential of getting something really good is way better than anything that's like calculated or predictable. It's actually that up and down that gets you addicted. It's like a toxic relationship, right? Like you get addicted to the cycle because only pulling you down is what allows you to feel that stark contrast of going up. Because if you're right here the whole time, this isn't as big of a deal. I got to pull you down so that you feel like you've just been cranked up. And so Pokemon was so smart with how they did everything. They were so smart with the spreading mechanism of the game, launching with like one game, but there's 2 versions of it, so you have to do it with your friend. And then for the packs, what they did is that every pack had like one potentially very rare card, even as a kid. So the very mechanic of just simply purchasing the cards as a child is pretty much like pulling a slot machine to a degree. there wasn't the monetary value there yet because we were all so young, but there was like the prestige value of like, I have a Charizard or whatever it may be. And I spotted that really young how important this was. So I started collecting Pokemon stuff way before people were collecting Pokemon stuff. Because I was like, this is going to be worth so much. I used to start buying up the old games and stuff. And now they're worth like hundreds, way more. Like, it's crazy how much people care about this stuff. But it's because a lot of them are addicted to it. Right. So what people do is they take advantage of how the card packs are just naturally functioning. And now there's a whole economy built on top of it. So basically people can pull these cards and it's not just like some cachet across the playground anymore. It's like, I just made 20 grand or like 10 grand, right? So that kind of play is just so different. And as MKAndy has discussed, so many creators took advantage of this because it's not, I don't think it's regulated like gambling is. So they're able to do a lot more stuff. Yeah. Speak about that because you probably know way more than I do.
Yeah, well, so just to like piggyback a little bit off of what you said and then go into that, the biggest thing with the gambling side of stuff and the biggest thing with what Ben was saying is you aren't actually addicted to pulling that Charizard because that Charizard is such a rare occurrence. That's not what you're addicted to. You don't become addicted because you hit this massive win. You become addicted to the disappointment of not getting what you wanted and thinking it was such a low investment for that initial rush of what might be that I will reinvest that for the hope. You're addicted to that loss and you're addicted to the idea of winning, not actually getting that win. And that's why so many people who become addicted to lotteries or casinos or whatever, you have this massive win that sets you up for life. You can be completely debt free. And these people are back in the exact same position they were, whether it's the next day, the next month, the next year, these people slide right back into the cycle because they're addicted to that loss. It's impossible. Even when you have that win, that's why casinos are so effective because they know that those big winners are just going to give it all right back because they're so ingrained into, I have to be there. I have to do it.
Go ahead.
There's also, I saw some news coming out very recently as well, and it keeps coming across my feed of, for instance, someone actually winning, right? Because if you do ever actually win big,
yeah. Good luck getting the money.
Very unlikely that you're going to get your money out. So this story here is about a 24-year-old from Chicago. Apparently lives with his parents and has spent months studying sports betting books and found a legal edge in football parlays. He won $800,000 across 2 Caesars casinos. Caesars voided every ticket and sent his $50,000 stake back instead. And 2 of the state gaming commissions sided with Caesars, and now he's trying to sue them in federal court. And apparently, it's not looking too great for him. So shout out to Elisar.
That's just a clear illustration of how broken everything is, because even if they lose that lawsuit or settle, it's probably still a win for them.
It's absolutely, it's actually probably better publicity long-term for the casino, even if they lose because they ended up paying out anyways. Like it's just, it's insane how everything for these casinos is good. The idea that there's no such thing as bad publicity is unfortunately actually true with casinos, because it doesn't, if you have an addict who can't help themselves from going back, even if you expose them, even if you tell them not to go, the best thing that we can do is prevent that first step into the door. You almost can't pull somebody out unless they truly want it. But if you can prevent that first step in, that's where the real like victories are.
Can you explain the crazy practices that exist on, say, specifically short form platforms for gambling?
Yeah, there's oh man, short form stuff is like, the practices are this. Let's find somebody who has a most likely primarily young audience. And we say most likely, or I say most likely, because at the end of the day, who truly has the time to scroll for hours and interact with short content? It's young people, because you don't have your job or whatever. These young people are then targeted by these companies to send, we could call them subliminal ads, guerrilla marketing campaigns, things that are happening where you are a victim of marketing techniques and tactics without being aware of it. And that's why there's laws and regulations on who can advertise to who, what has to be disclosed, when you have to tell somebody that you're being paid to promote something or not. And the short form content has become such a barrier to those roadblocks, because the volume, it's like opening a fire hose. You can have hundreds of thousands of pieces of content going out that are unregulated, that are not being sanctioned by FTC or other regulatory bodies. And the problem with algorithms is it will reward them. And even if you get that put in front of 100 people, that's 100 people that you should legally have not had that content put in front of. But the algorithms are too slow to find it. They're too slow to actually pull this content down. And so even if it does get pulled down, you now have people with there's a marketing rule called the rule of 7. You need to see and experience a brand 7 times just to become curious enough to look into it, just to think that maybe you're interested. Well, if you have 7 accounts with 1,000 followers that will never get banned because nobody's actually following them, but they're all uploading hundreds of videos, and those videos all have the crypto casino logo in the bottom corner, you're speed running that rule of 7. Because now when somebody is scrolling and they're interacting with similar content, you're going to see that logo 7, 8, 9, 20, 30, 100 times before you even look into it. But now there's this level of brand recognition. You think, well, I see this guy supporting, or I see this brand sponsoring this guy, or this logo was on this creator that I like. What is that? I'll go check it out. That's exactly how one of the videos that I'm working on right now started. I saw a logo in a corner and I was like, what is this? I need to look into this, because this is very clearly not meant for somebody my age, but definitely meant for somebody to get hooked into this loop.
It's insane to think about the flow of events, right? Like big tech spends all this money making social media platforms as addictive as possible, which is basically gambling. Like the people that spend a lot of time on social media, it's a pretty similar addiction to those that are chasing a high of gambling on a far lower scale. It's just, that's why you spend so much more time on it. And the destructive thing is the loss of time, but they got you so groomed to that behavior. But the platforms don't really pay that well, right? So a lot of people don't understand that the platforms themselves, especially given market rates for what a creator should make, these platforms basically have free labor. Like, of course, it was an amazing thing that like me as Joe Blow dude from small town in Canada or medium size can like build an audience and build a business. That is a crazy opportunity. But in terms of like what the platform is making off of the eyeballs that I generate, like it's not a fair trade, because this was just so innovative and new to give distribution and democratize that. So because of that, a lot of the most skilled creators on the planet don't make any money. Like people don't really grasp this. Like they'll come to a page and be like, okay, this guy's getting 1 million views a day plus, and they're like, he must be making bank. Oftentimes they're making nothing or almost nothing, because depending on where you are in the world, you may not even be part of the native monetization features of the platform. So what these gambling companies do is they reach out to, okay, you have a mass audience. There's this one guy that I love following who walks around Florida, and he's a wild man. He just grabs native wildlife and explains to you what this crazy deadly snake is. It's insane, bro. But unfortunately, the most dangerous thing in his content is not the snake, it's the gambling ad. Right, because he's walking through and he'll like grab this python and be like, this thing could kill me right now, and then he's like, but I'm gonna first do my bet. Yeah. And then he had like a stake bet or a rain bet or whatever that it was, and that was in the middle of his nature stuff, right? So that's just how it all works, and that's why these creators are saying yes, is because you may think they're getting rich from the eyeballs, but they're not.
Well, the money is insane. Like if you're somebody who starts making content on YouTube and you get to your monetization, your partner status on YouTube, 4,000 watch hours, 1,000 subscribers.
Such bullshit.
Oh, it's insane. I remember when the YouTube partner program was a Google form, and you literally just like get into it. Yeah, but you get into this. So what that does is it weeds out a lot of those people who will give up. So you've got like kind of the garbage content that is not going to pay well. And YouTube is like, well, we're not even going to bother paying this person. But then you get monetized and you realize I hit the monetization. oh, the views that I've been getting for the last year equate to about $6 a month. So I'm going to take another year and a half to get my first payout. Now imagine you're monetized, your content is getting pushed out to a few thousand people, and a gambling sponsor comes and is like, we'll pay you $5,000 a month to upload a short every single day. It's like, I'm making a salary promoting this casino that's going to 200x their investment on me in the lifetime because of the people I'm going to hook. So it's actually a no-brainer, and unfortunately the platforms themselves, they're not enabling it, but because of the rates that people are paid for those views on those eyeballs, and because it's all going through legal channels, you can't even compete with it. You have to be like very morally comfortable with saying no to lots of money to avoid these guys. Because if you have 400,000, 500,000, 1 million plus followers on a platform, you are so valuable to these campaigns, to these gambling platforms, because you can just corrupt tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people very cheap.
Keith, I was about to give you a shout out, man, because you've had that opportunity a bunch and you've consistently turned it down to grind for the rap. But
just grind out the rap.
But you could have, because you're a perfect example. Your audience would be gold for these guys, and they've reached out to you a bunch, but I cut you off. I just wanted to give you some love.
Yeah, no. I was going to show someone who did not turn it down and show you guys an example of what this can look like. This girl, she's one of these people, right, where she's probably trying to promote like her subscription services. I don't know. But in between all of that, right, she does these like funny.
Oh, my glasses, let's go. Hi, can I
you see how there's like some gambling thing that she just threw into the middle of this little video of her doing these like pranks and stuff in these stores.
Getting moms and the women going to Target stuff too. Like, no one is safe, especially because they got these casino games now where you don't need to be invested in the sport to participate. And then also the prediction markets, man. Like, that's who's going after Keith a fair amount, because when you get the prediction markets, you're getting everybody, because everything can be a market. So now the geopolitical interested person, the like literally anyone, right? Think of anything that happens in the world, you could potentially make a market about it.
Totally. And then one other thing that I did want to show was because this did happen earlier this year, the president of the United States himself, having that little subliminal thing, and the little piece in the corner.
Crazy. I know we talked about it.
So super, super wild. I'm pretty sure this happened on multiple occasions too. I know there's one other one that I saw, this one here, like on his Truth Social. And it's like, yo, if this is happening with the president of the United States, right? Like,
nobody is safe. Like, no, like literally nobody is safe. It is.
But the con started by making social media free. Like that's what people don't understand, is that the consumer, they'll come to an app, right? Because I sell consumer apps, and I don't put on ads for my apps, because I'm like, I only want to sell to someone who actually wants to solve the problem that I'm solving. I don't want to extract your data and sell it to people that are trying to make more money from you later, right? So like, they'll complain at me. It's like, if you don't want the product, you don't want the product. But now Instagram and social media has convinced everyone that like every piece of software should be free, because they were the product the whole time.
Exactly.
And so it's like the demise of society was really that, man, is that people didn't understand that they were the product. Like, you know, the whole like they say, like the aliens are farming the luge from us. Like I don't know if you're a big alien guy, but that's basically what's going on with big tech.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like, you have these tech companies that are able to extract the data, and then they say like the reason that the saying is, if the product is free, then you are the product. Like, you are being sold. And I mean, now it's actually even more insane, because you've got these sponsors coming out, like I think MKAndy is one of them. And there's no shade to these guys, but they have started in a whole new industry of removing that data that you have freely given up for decades. So they go out and they say, oh, we'll get rid of this data for you. Listen, I'm a skeptical guy. Who's to say that they're not just farming all of that into another spreadsheet that now becomes more valuable? Because guess what, guys? Your data's gone, so you're primed for a targeted campaign by somebody. They see what you got unsubscribed from. They see. I'm not throwing any shade at MKAndy. I'm just a speculative conspiracy theorist of like, any data, anything where somebody comes to you and says, look at the great and wonderful stuff I'm going to do for you for this small fee, ask a question. What could go wrong? What's happening behind the curtain if you're the customer, if you're the person that's being approached to make a purchase?
Yeah, it's wild too that like all of the incentives. Like I battle with this idea of like, okay, but also the only thing that I can think, right, to justify what I do is what we're trying to use it for, right? We're trying to use this to get people to not do the gambling thing, at least.
I think just to try to make an unconscious experience currently, which is the consumption of this content, into a conscious one. Right? That's
as
really
soon as you become aware, it becomes way
everything.
less effective. Way less effective.
Even for social media content, like why I only watch long form content is because once I learned how easy it was to gain people's attention, I'm like, oh, this is all trash. And so then you make some choice. Like, and that's also the scary part is how normalized they've made the gambling and the social media. Even in my family, like I'm like, I couldn't believe this at the Christmas dinner table. They're like talking about this stuff, and I'm like, you guys know what I do for work, right? But they're like bragging about how much time they spend doom scrolling. I think I told you about this, Keith. But they're like, yeah, I spend like 3-4 hours a day. I'm like, so you're bragging about watching stuff you don't really like. Like, it's crazy how the branding and the association of, oh, it's just something that we do. It's like,
yeah,
you're killing yourself. Like,
yeah. Well, I was, my wife and I were just hanging out a night or two ago. We were watching a show, and some of the most fun that I have with my wife is sitting on the couch with a show playing, but we're just talking about the show, about life, about things. And a realization that I just had was there are so many people who are in relationships, who are at home, off of work with no responsibilities, and they're sitting 3 feet away from each other, completely disconnected from what is happening in the other person's life because both people are just on their phone. They're scrolling. They're not engaged. I'm just as guilty of doing this, going out to dinner and checking a Discord message or whatever it might be. But the problem is that people have become so numb to it. They don't even think it's a problem. They think, well, I show my spouse the funny cat video that popped up, or I send my buddy a funny meme that I saw, but we don't even have a handle on it. Like, we can't even stop for the most part. Most people are just they're so sucked into it. They don't even know where to begin to stop doing it.
Yeah, man. It's Keith, you got something you're excited about. Let me hear it.
Well, no, we had Jessica Hawk, my teacher face on a couple weeks back, and she was talking about so she's a teacher, and like two of her students, whatever, would like hang out with each other. But what they would do is have they'd watch Netflix together, but one of them is watching one show and the other one is watching another show. Like that was how they hung out with each other or something like that. So you made me think of that in terms of like the opposite of you actually having a conversation with your wife while watching something. But yeah, I mean,
it's crazy. I mean, like, one of the things that I sound like a crazy person when I tell people this, but my kids are not getting smartphones. They're not iPad kids. I let my son play the Nintendo Switch because I can like monitor the games and I understand how most of them work at the very least. But like when I myself struggle to put this thing down and put it somewhere, when I myself struggle with that as a 30-year-old man, why would I be giving that to my 8-year-old? It's like giving them a napalm bomb and being like, be responsible, have fun. It's like, I can't control it. I have a difficult time doing this. And I grew up in the generation where it was just starting to become prevalent.
Yeah.
These kids are growing up with it. Their parents are like, here's my phone, 4-year-old. Here's my iPad. And like, I don't know. I have a soft spot for the upcoming generation just because of truly how cooked they are with the social media gamification of smartphones and stuff.
I completely agree with you. I have a soft spot in my heart for them because I've worked with some of them that have been impacted by it a lot, and it's just the experiences that they missed that we all had. Keith, you were probably close to the end of it before I started getting really bad because you're a bit younger, but we had a lot of experiences that they just don't know and like couldn't even relate to. And it's not even the important part isn't that we can all relate to it. That's obviously helpful for us to bond, but it's like the lessons that you were forced to learn through the discomfort.
Yes.
Right. Whereas now we
Yeah.
have the emotional pacifier, which is this thing. And I think it is so destructive to how our brains function and how we interact with each other, which is why we built No Dice. We feel like it's one of the biggest problems in the world. And crazy to think about, but a lot of the people who built the platforms and tools, they don't even let their kids use it.
There's a reason.
So it's
They
like, what
know
does
it.
Yeah, what does that tell you? And I also, from like a business standpoint too, if anyone's listening to this, I really think that like no phone zones and experiential type things are going to be massive over the coming years, because it's a pendulum and it swings back and forth.
Yeah.
I do feel like we're coming back this way. So if you're a restaurant owner, simply doing the gimmick of like, we collect your phones before you come in, probably will skyrocket your business or your restaurant. And you can do that with any kind of experience. I'm sure bars will start doing that too.
I think what would be an incredible technology, this is just me saying, somebody take this idea because you'll be a bajillionaire. But instead of those little cases that you like put your phone in and lock, if you could create like no digital spaces, like a fence that you walk through, and you can still have your phone in you, but it just doesn't receive, or it literally like drains your battery really fast or something like that. If you could do that to make it even easier, that's the way that these platforms succeed. They make it so easy to sign up. They make it so easy to participate. So if we could somehow make it easy to participate in life again by killing your phone when you walk through a door or something like that, that would be great, because so many people have that phantom phone. They leave their phone somewhere and they feel like a buzz. They got to touch. They feel anxiety. So you have to get comfortable even with that, the idea that it's there, but when I check it, nothing's happening.
TikTok really sped up this stuff like crazy, because every other platform used to have a lot more friction, right? And then now the For You page, you get an account created and you start consuming content and they start collecting data within seconds. And that's really the craziest part, is that people don't understand that. People think that for them to be giving data, they have to be doing some sort of action. It's like you simply consuming, and the decisions you're making for how long you stay or even how you swipe, those are all little data points that are getting tracked by these companies. So TikTok is able to learn everything about you, things you've not even consciously acknowledged about yourself in like a few hours. And that's why I was so scared as a social media strategist when TikTok became a thing during COVID. I'm like, we're going to go crazy because we're inside. And now everyone's going to start watching this thing and everyone's going to get mental so fast. And I watched it happen. Even with my own family, man, they became different people after COVID. And you could say it's COVID. I think it's COVID and social media. I don't think you can say one without saying the other.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, steak saw its massive rise in popularity because of COVID, because people couldn't go to the physical casinos, and they started promoting. They started saying, let's get more people in. Let's get more people accessible onto this platform. It's crazy.
Yeah. And someone says, this is silly. Y'all are getting old with these kids today thing. And that's totally fair. But I just think there is such a massive difference in terms of the experience that I had versus the experience that's being had today. So the time horizon is not that huge, like time difference, but the experience difference, like different world, night and day. When I even think about the dumb things that I did as a kid in high school or even college, where phones weren't as big of a thing, whereas now, like, they could have been horrible events that lived on for so much longer because everyone had a phone all the time, right? So it's a completely different experience.
Yeah.
The thing that I was picturing when you guys were talking about like the experiences and stuff is, for me, I would imagine, like, because the big thing too is, especially for if you're going out, for instance, and you want to not be on your phone, you're worried about, okay, but how do I get home, and like like what's going to happen.
Oh, they got us there.
So you'd have to like basically have all of that planned out. Right?
I lived with a flip phone, Keith, for a month, like a year or two ago. And that was the whole thing that got me. It wasn't that I missed social media, man. It was that I am geographically, mentally handicapped. so like my ability to navigate my surroundings was zero. Right. And so, and then I tried to use the flip phone, and it had the tools on there, but they were ass, right? So then eventually 2 or 3 weeks in, I'm like, okay, I'm going back, man. But it wasn't even the social media. It was like, I'm so dependent on this to navigate my normal life, even separate of that.
And
Wow.
don't forget, it's not even navigation. Now you put your credit
Payments.
card, your
Yeah.
banking on
Yeah.
there. Now you have access to your money and your finances. This has turned into the golden handcuff of like, if I leave my house without this, I might not make it home.
And they've done such a good job with fear marketing, and we even do it to ourselves, right? Because you got to stop and realize that you do this as a human with every scenario, because we are survival creatures. We're not thriving creatures. And so you catastrophize everything. So when people go to the bar or something, they're like, oh, I need to bring my phone because what happens if something happens? It's like, we were going out and doing things for decades and decades and decades, and things very infrequently happened. Go ahead.
Well, shocking alert. If you don't have a phone, everyone around you does. Like literally not a single human being beside you will not. So if you would like to go out without your phone,
you'll be
you
fine.
could probably ask somebody for directions or to
Very
call
good
somebody
point.
for you. Like we do a great job of it. And it's because this thing becomes so personalized to you. It feels like an extension of yourself. That's why when you lose your phone, it becomes a huge issue. When you break your phone, it becomes a huge problem. And so it's the exact same thing. You could just leave and probably interact with literally somebody walking their dog in the middle of the woods will also have a phone. So you'll probably be okay. But we get scared about it.
The thing that I wanted to touch on, I'm like trying to summarize this this study that was done, and this is pretty old at this point. I think this was, what does it say? I'm not sure, but 2022 technically, this one. But I remember seeing studies come out about this idea of like our phones actually legitimately being in our brains like an extension of our body. And so like that phantom thing that you were talking about, like when you feel like something's missing, it's like literally your brain thinks that like you're missing a body part, right? When you don't have the ability to like check your phone or see what's going on. So this is one of those things where it breaks down how substantial smartphone usage does have the same kinds of impact on your psychology as your body parts. It essentially connects those two things to some ways, how we operate and think about what our body means.
I got to find this one creator lady, Keith. She's definitely on like the conspiratorial side of the internet, which is probably the right side at this point. But that's like been her whole shtick the whole time for like a long time. And she brings out sources because apparently her family had someone in the government who would have been associated with this kind of research. And so if anyone knows in the chat, I just got switched over here. One sec.
While I can't hear you yet. But what I was gonna say is, yeah. So like her thing is that it was supposed to be. I guess we'll hear from him when he gets back. But like, yeah, super interesting to think about all that stuff. I mean, there's like these patents that float around of all different kinds of stuff of like the microchips that have been going on for like decades, right? Of like this being the way that you get into, everything like your bank account and all of that. And it's like, in a sense, it's kind of already done in my eyes. Like the mark of the beast thing, it's like.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's impossible. I mean, like, I'm somebody who is like a Christian. So I also have like a faith background and believe in certain just things in the Bible mentioned about what the world will look like as it progresses. And right there, I mean, maybe Mark of the Beast, maybe not. There's a lot of argument for or against phones and certain numbers. There was a great video, I think it was Wendigoon, did a really awesome video about Emperor Nero actually being 666. So like that might be a prophecy already fulfilled that we kind of try, because we're main characters. We're like, well, what is this today? What is this thing? But yeah, I totally agree. It's this extension. It's this thing that is attacking us kind of from within. It's really, really sinister, depending on, your worldview and stuff, how you actually want to lay that down. But from my perspective, I line up with that a lot.
So I was going to say is that if anyone in the chat knows who I was referring to in terms of who that lady is, because if you've seen the content, it'll come to mind right away. So either let us know in the chat, or if you're watching the replay after, let us know in the comments. But whenever I talk about stuff like that, man, I swear my mic glitches. It's crazy.
Somebody's listening.
So
they don't want you to let us know.
but I was listening to what you guys were saying and agreeing with all of it. Because if you, like, life was always a lot to deal with. But now it's like a minefield 24/7, because if you're not really sure of who you are and what you care about, this thing will tell you.
Mm,
And not many
hmm.
people have sat with themselves long enough to even think of those things as a concept, which is
Mhm.
really scary, because then you're basically giving full power and authority to the people that you hate the most. Like, even the people who are like, I hate big tech, they're chronically online.
Oh yeah,
And I'm like, you're giving every
absolutely.
waking moment and dollar and time and energy to this platform or to the politician that you say you hate. It's just, I think education is so important so that people can wake up and become conscious.
I think catered education is important. I think the education system as it is very broken, especially in North America.
Totally agree.
Like it is uh my kids are getting to that school age, and it's a conversation my wife and I are having of like, we should probably just homeschool, because sending our kids for 8 to 10 hours a day to programs, to people, to other kids, to other influences, to a force of technology, because now kids need an iPad or a laptop or something to access some of the documents or whatever. The education system itself was created to create factory workers, to create drones who thought in it and did exactly what the instructors told them to do. And if you didn't do that, you failed. You literally had to redo it. It's like, I think I could probably teach my 6 year old how to do the ABCs and add pretty simple numbers together. I'm not setting them up for failure by teaching them the basics and stuff. So it's just like this idea, and a lot of it is not even the fault of families or people. I mean, you get told, go to this cubicle for 8 hours a day, work in this thing for 10 hours a day. You have to travel, so who's going to watch your kids, because you have to go to work. So I'm very blessed that I'm able to kind of even have that thought or that idea, that desire to keep my kids at home and homeschool them. But so many people are trapped by the society that we've built ourselves out of convenience, out of abundance, out of wanting to be prosperous. And we give away like the best years of our lives, the best years of ourselves for our kids. We give away because we have to go to work and we have to make money. We give the best. Like, I just think, what kid between ages 7 to 17 wants to sit in a brick box for their entire childhood? It makes no sense. And you get 2 months out of the year to enjoy some hot weather. Like, what? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't like compute the more I think about it.
No, totally agreed on that piece. ZMEF42 said the public school system is a glorified babysitting system so that the people can work.
Yes.
It's
Yeah,
dude,
absolutely.
and it's so crazy how just normal that is, because even my sister's having another kid, right? Or like she just had one, she may have another one, and they're debating like the cost of getting a babysitter and all these different things, and people are making full-on decisions about how many children that they have based off of like paying for childcare or like going to school. How much do schools cost? Like, and then to pay for that, they got to go work way more. It's a very vicious system, and I think schooling needs to be completely overhauled. I don't.
Mhm.
What would you change as someone who has kids? Because I'm so far removed from it. What are the things that you think that you would change?
Well, the approach that I want to take, and we haven't implemented this quite yet, but the approach that I think is, I kind of look at my own life of, I just pursued the stuff I was genuinely interested in, and now I'm coming into my 30s very successful by all standards. Like, if you asked anybody else, what do you do? It's like, I have a dream job, I spend time with my wife and my kids, I own a home. Like, I have achieved the things that people want. And I did that by finding things I'm interested in, pursuing those things, and who cares about the other stuff. I couldn't tell you how to make a parabola because I don't care and it has no value in my daily life. But I spent probably 6 months learning about parabolas in school. So, what I want to do for both of my kids is find the things that they're interested in and foster those interests. And it doesn't matter if they start getting interested into something when they're 7, 12, or 17, 18. I want to provide you opportunity to continue those pursuits. So if one of my kids wanted to be an astronaut, well, you're going to have to know some parabolas, buddy. I'm not going to be able to help you out. But we can do that. I can foster that thing that you're interested in. And I think that is the approach that schooling should actually take. What do you like? Who are you as an individual? And what are some career paths or some things that you can do to provide for yourself that we can foster as you're growing up? Because it's kind of the same. We're sacrificing teaching our kids valuable skills and who they are for teaching them how to consume social media and become gambling addicts. Like literally, we're just like, well, instead of doing this, we'll do this because it's easy, right? So, yeah, it's that's the approach that I would like to take, because I've tried to do that in my own life and get out of the systems as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I've seen success in doing it. And a lot of people that I talk to who are successful are very similar. They say, I didn't follow the rule book. I didn't do what everybody else told me I should do.
We have very similar stories here. And I think that that's a pretty constant thing whenever you find people that are doing things that they actually wanted to be doing and creating things. I think that was the most obvious thing to me as a child, which was like, school was not the product that I was being sold. Right? Every day they're telling me, oh, you get to go learn and be curious. And I'm like, no, I don't. I walk in and teach something I know I'll never have to use. When I say I'm never gonna have to use this, I get some bullshit response because this person's paycheck is predicated on me believing that this is important.
It's dependent on that. Yes. It's hilarious because it's the exact same as the gambling regulators state to state. They only have a job because the casinos exist. If we told them we want you to be stricter on casinos and shut the ones down that are doing the wrong thing, they're gonna be like, well, that's gonna really affect our quarterly budget. It's like, well, then how do we solve this problem?
And that's also a big point to come back to. It's the quote that's in my Instagram bio, so I repeat it on the show all the freaking time. But to fix a broken system, we must first forgive the flaws in others that the system has created. And so the issue is that everyone gets so personal and they start doing these attacks. It's like, a lot of these systems were just made a long time ago and the world is so different. So there's probably a lot of people that were involved in even creating the schooling system who had the best of intentions, but they could not have predicted how different the world would be when this shit existed. Right. So you've got to throw most of it out. I'm like, throw the baby out with the bathwater. I think we're kind of close to that point. Like we have to do a lot of that for a lot of the systems.
And I think like we live in a completely different world than we did when this school system existed. And there was some value. I mean, the North America with the school system that it kind of adopted has become incredibly successful and wealthy and well off for a very long time. The problem is we now live in a world where I use AI all the time to solve problems in my daily life that are tangible and useful and beneficial. I'm not asking ChatGPT, why is the sky blue, and give me a full thesis on that. I'm saying, hey, I'm hearing this sound in my vehicle. I need to figure out what this is and how do I fix it and where do I go for the right parts locally. And I have fixed stuff in my house, on my car, and my computer. I've taught myself new skills through using AI as a substitute for teaching, but I'm able to get the exact responses that I need to achieve the results that I have to without paying some guy a course that's going to teach me a bunch of the stuff I already know, and I'll get that little nugget that I need, or taking my thing to a mechanic who's going to gouge me because they have to charge me the $45 diagnostic fee.
I bet mechanics are pissed, man.
They probably are.
For how long can they just
hate
bullshit?
This man.
Yeah, they're like, I could just bullshit, make some shit up. I know they still try to pull that shit on me. Sometimes I'll call my buddy who's a mechanic and I'm like, do I have to do this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But that can be ChatGPT now, right? So I think that's or not chat. People hate chat, but whatever tool you want to use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Insert whatever AI is helpful to you. But I think like also teaching young people and people who are in school and want to be successful, don't be scared of adopting new technologies, but just be aware of the dangers that come with them. If you let AI do all of your thinking for you, well, you're not actually progressing.
You're not smart.
But yeah, you're not smart. You can become smart, but don't let it do everything for you. And that's kind of, I think that's kind of what school did for a lot of people. It let you think you were smart because you got an 80 on a thing or an A+ or whatever. But at the end of the day, then you would go out and you had no street smarts. You had no idea how to interact with people, how to have conversations, how to be told no and take that responsibility and say, that's okay, I got told no. How do I deal with this emotionally in a positive way?
That's a really good point, because I think a lot of this societal problems also stem from people who are very insecure, and they're insecure because they've never had to fail consistently, right? Because if you go through and all you care about is school, if you really study hard, you could do well on pretty well every test, right? But that's not real life. Like if you actually
Not
go
even a
and
little bit.
not an
It's
enjoyable one, right? For
no.
sure. Because even if you go and you continue that routine in every job that you have, those are the people that complain about their life the most. So I think a lot of people need to fail a lot more, and that's something I attribute like all of my confidence to, is failing a lot really young. Because I didn't give a shit anymore. I'm just like, who cares? Like, so this thing, people make fun of me. I'm like, okay, like whatever.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Like it's like the same thing, and it shows you who your friends are. So yeah, I think there's a lot to overhaul. But I'd love to come back to, because you've done a few exposés on specific creators that have gone
Yeah.
crazy. I'd love to start with the Airac one. Can you walk through what you learned, what that whole thing was? It's got over 500,000 views now.
Yeah. The Airac one, that was, I don't believe in luck, but luck is preparation meets opportunity. I was working, man, the last year of my life has been insane, like just an absolute roller coaster. So I was working like 60 to 70 hours a week, and I was at my second job, and I saw Airac post this video, and I had wanted to pivot my channel to this anti-gambling world. I saw this while I was at work. I got off work. My shift ended at midnight. I got home. I loaded up Airac's video. And while I was at work in between my responsibilities, I was making notes about his video and watching things over and just thinking about what rebuttals I would have. I got home at midnight. I stayed up until 7 in the morning and then worked the whole next day. But I stayed up until 7 in the morning to finish the Airac video, thumbnail, editing, recording, all of it, for two reasons. One, I just wanted to do it, and I didn't care how it performed. It had no bearing. I just thought that I have a valuable message that I want to share with people and call this out, because it's ridiculous that a guy with 20 million subscribers can do something so dangerous. And it irked me so much. So I did that, and then I put it out, and I was like, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to see what happens in this world. And the second reason I did it was because I was able to get the video out less than 24 hours than Airac got his video out. So I knew that the way algorithms work, if I'm able to get a little bit of traction, then this will also gain some traction. So I did that. And in that video, what I learned, or what I noticed, was there were too many things happening for that video to exist by accident. There were too many things happening in that video for me to be okay with saying, this is just an innocent, we had a fun idea and we were able to record here. The casino was involved intimately. There was conversations happening behind the scenes that lead me personally, in my opinion, knowing what I know about marketing and how productions even work. The casino was intimately involved in where they could film, who was working that day, the hours that they were allowed to come and film. That casino itself has had Hollywood productions there as well. So they were familiar with recording studios and people coming in and doing stuff. There were things. I made my Mickey Mays video, which I'm sure you'll want to ask about as well, but I saw Mickey Mays in that video, and he was so clearly there to promote Kirgo, the casino that he is partnered with, that he has a relationship with.
And that thing's crazy. Can you explain like a little bit about that?
Okay, so Mickey Mays gets brought into this Airac video, and his story is that he came in as a way to help Airac, because Airac was freaking out that these other schmucks that he brought in for the video had lied to him. They couldn't actually be the casino. They were losing all his money. Who would have thought that these guys selling courses would actually lose all of the money? But he brings Mickey in under the guise of, he needs to help me kind of complete this video. And Mickey is one of the all-time greatest gambling influencers, not necessarily a great gambler. He might be, I have no idea, but he's a great influencer. He sells this idea that you can beat the casinos, that you can be profitable, that he did it. And if you look at him, he looks like a bathroom stall. So if the guy who looks like this is able to beat a casino, I probably can too. It can't be that difficult. It's a rags to riches story. So he comes in, he does all this stuff, and it was just so disgusting to see him come in and have Kiergo behind him. And this brand is a casino that he is involved with. To what degree, I'm not 100% sure. There's some business ties in the back end. He's absolutely a promoter for the casino. He absolutely is getting some sort of kickbacks or sign up bonus when people are logging in through his affiliate links. It is one of the, I think he's probably an owner on the back end as well. So now you have Eric, 20 million subscriber YouTube channel with crazy massive millions of followers across all of his socials, gambling influencer. You're putting them in a brick and mortar casino, showing them that it's possible to, showing viewers, young people, that it's possible to beat these systems. And here's a casino that you can do it, that the gambler endorses. So there's just so many layers of like, why are we allowing this to happen? It just frustrates me to no end that YouTube knows who Eric is. YouTube has worked with Eric. They understand what his audience metrics are, and they still allow stuff like that to happen. It to me is really gross.
So how would we stop stuff like this?
Oh, I think like the first layer of defense is, I don't want to make myself sound like I'm the answer, but the first layer of defense is people coming in and saying like, this is wrong. Like the more people that can come in and be like, this is wrong, here's why, here's what's happening, the marketing behind it, or the big subscribers, the big subscriber count channels, we should hold them accountable. My video got 500,000 views. Eric's video got like 6 or 7 million views, but Eric changed the description of his video because of my video. Like he updated the description to say the casino didn't endorse or sponsor this. Do I believe him? I'm not 100% sure, but a small creator with less than 20,000 subscribers was able to make a big enough voice that somebody saw that and somebody changed it. Was it Eric? Was it his production? Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's worth doing that because the more people that speak up, the more people that address it, the better. I think that's the first layer of defense.
That's a great point. That's a really good point, because the louder that you are, there's got to be a cost to bad behavior. I think most like of the erosion of society is because accountability is like zero.
It's nothing.
It's nothing.
And like, unfortunately, the rage bait that most people do get mad at, the Jack Dohertys, you could even call like the Conor McGregor going out in public and throwing a window at or a chair at a bus or something. Like these events that happen, you can be angry at them. They're nothing events. Like Jack Doherty is going to be a stain that nobody remembers because he just rage baited people. He had his 5 minutes of fame, but somebody like Eric is going to have a long-term impact on the people that he creates videos for when he's promoting this. So I would much rather get upset at these creators who are taking massive paychecks from the gambling industry and say, you guys making a fun 20-minute video with that video probably cost him $50,000 to $100,000 to make, just with prior production knowledge. And Eric is a big content creator. That $100,000 that you spent and then the $1 million that you made has an actual negative impact on millions of people. Like it normalizes gambling. So when somebody hears about their friend having an issue, they think, well, Eric made a funny video about it. How bad is this? The number of comments that I get just on my videos, people saying, you're a weak, stupid idiot if you fall victim to gambling addiction. It's like, you're not. You are anybody who falls victim to gambling addiction is the prime target audience of a casino because they target everybody. They're indiscriminatory. They literally do not care if you are old and on your deathbed or if you just rolled out of your diaper and have access to a credit card. Anywhere in between that, male or female, black, white, Asian, doesn't matter who you are, they want your money and they will target you and take it. So it's just not worth being quiet about because it is such a big problem. And the people I speak to will be different than the people that you speak to, will be different than the people who ODAT speaks to, will be different from. If we can all kind of have this collective voice, we might not be as impactful as one individual creator, but the voice can echo through the social media pools and hopefully educate a few people about it.
I completely agree, because once it's unmasked, it's hard to continue doing that behavior, especially when you realize how destructive that it really is, which is obviously why we started No Dice, the No Dice podcast, all that stuff, because building a community to amplify the voice, I think, is really important. And it's always so funny that these people will come and say all those comments that you're referring to. We've seen them on our stuff as well. And it's just like, everyone's got something that they're more susceptible to, right? The gambling thing is the current major issue, one of the many, I guess, but one of the most pressing ones, because of just changes in terms of the economy, people, the things that we use. That's why it's such a big deal, right? But it's not really that different from any other like addiction crisis we've ever had before, right? Certain people are more receptive to those, like opioids, depending on like your temperament, where you were, the experience in time that you got subjected to them, right? Like everyone has different things. For some people, it's food, right? Some people, it may be alcohol, right? So I think it's just really ridiculous for people who don't understand or maybe can't relate to it. But the only way that we help raise the level of understanding is doing exactly what you're talking about, like talking about it all the time. And also, there's got to be some repercussions. Like if a creator of yours partners with a gambling company, like that may be something you have to decide. Like, do I want to continue to feed this? Right? Because if you keep giving them the eyeballs, they don't think anything's wrong. Right? It's a lot like even in your own life. If you keep giving someone access to you that is abusing you, they're going to say, how could I be abusing you? You're still here.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Keith. I thought you were going to say something.
Well, there's just the one thing. It was just like the clickbait title. It's like, you clicked it.
Yeah.
Now I have to do it again.
And you also have tools on social media to hide people's content too. True. Like you can click the 3 little dots and say, not interested in this, or like hide this channel from me, etc. If people just started doing that, a lot of these problems would go away. Like that's why we always advocate on Twitter that if anyone who does any of those shady things, just block them forever.
Absolutely. And block them forever. And it's really interesting. So I'm having a conversation with a crypto casino representative right now who wants to sponsor my content.
Crazy.
And they reached out, and I am having conversations with them because I want to understand how the approaches actually happen. What do these people...
How do they get so many yeses?
Why do you get so many yeses? What is this? And it is insane to see some of the tactics that they use behind the scenes. I'm very excited to expose it. But one of the problems is they don't even care about getting exposed. They don't even care about people coming out and saying things, because no publicity is bad publicity for them. If somebody is talking about you, that's good. You will get... the problem is gambling addiction is so prevalent, and it affects so many people secretly without anybody else in the world knowing that they're struggling with it, that when I make a video with the intention of speaking out and educating people and helping people, if there is a link or a logo that can send somebody to that site, somebody might be curious and check it out and lose money on that site. I can't stop it. I think I'm doing more good than not in talking about these things, but the casinos don't care because they know that somebody will watch and somebody will sign up. So it's fascinating. It really is just crazy to see how little they care about any of it.
Yes. And talent goes where the money flows, right? So why did we have the smartest people in the world in Silicon Valley, like helping to make these tools as addictive as possible? Is because they were getting paid like crazy to do so, because the people doing it understood the stakes, whether that's government or people who had unlimited money, basically, like that was part of it, right? And now that's being done within gambling circles, where the best talent in the world is building like microtransaction games and gambling games, which is just so unfortunate. So it's like, you do have to kind of you got to take away the eyeballs and take away the money.
Absolutely. Yeah. And how do we... the question that I would have just to the world is like, how do we get that money out? Because gambling has been so prevalent in human history. It's like the oldest, it's like gambling and prostitution are the oldest industries in the world. So yeah, look, we have to fight back. We have to educate people. We live in a new era of information, so we can understand actually what's happening, because our brains are super easy to hack. It's super easy to convince somebody to do something. Yeah, go ahead.
I think the social media platforms themselves and the regulation has to be done at that level in terms of like I'm not even saying to like limit free speech or anything like that, but the tools need to be more accessible for curation and choice over what you're consuming. In my opinion, like, and they're making some like little like baby steps on certain platforms, because I feel like they're probably trying to front run what will be legal mandates pretty soon, because a lot of people just simply aren't educated to the addictive properties of a social media algorithm and how much perception creates reality across a lot of these things. And so I think you gave a great analogy where we're currently at the point right now where gambling is like smoking, right? It's just too everywhere and there's too many people making money from this, where it just continues to get into more places where it shouldn't be. And so I think that a lot of conversations have to be done for like, how can we just make this less accessible? Do you know what I mean? And I also think like it being in kids games is freaking crazy. Like, that's something that should just not be allowed. Of course, you're gonna have to find rules, but they did that with alcohol. They did that with
yeah. Well, it's just, it's so crazy to me that so many people, I don't like the government. I don't like regulations. I want the government to be as uninvolved in my life as possible. I hate them. They don't know what's best for me or my family. They don't. Some guy that lives in a whole other part of the world, living a life of luxury because he makes 5 times my yearly salary, has no idea what I should or shouldn't be able to participate in. At the same time, why do we not want the government to step in and protect the most vulnerable people in our society and the people who are going to be making long-term decisions for the direction our country and society go? Like, why would we not want that?
The scary part about that is that they can push that in and then tie it to a lot of other things that are very restrictive. So I completely agree with you. But it has to be done from people who know enough of the bullshit they would try to pull in association with solving that problem to create a new one. You know what I'm saying?
I think it becomes, there has to be some level of collaboration between private enterprise and government to build things in a similar way that like lobby groups will work to legalize things. I mean, to become somebody who is anti-gambling, even on a government level, the lobbyist groups that work for these casinos and for these gambling advocates are huge, with millions upon millions of dollars behind them. So there has to be this synchronicity of private, hey, this is my message, do you guys like it? Yeah, let's get it out there. And government coming in and supporting that and saying, yeah, we want to do this, but we need to find some sort of a middle ground for sure. Because I don't like the idea of like prohibition. Like, adults are adults and people should be able to do what they want, but we do have to find a way to protect these underage people who are getting targeted by the social media ads, by the crypto casinos, by watching a hockey game and getting served a DraftKings ad, a Bet369 ad, and everything in between, every ad break.
Totally. The difficult thing there, though, is that people don't trust government at all anymore. And I think there's good reason not to, in terms of it does feel like most people that are in those positions have been bought and paid for or have the opportunity to be. So I think that's also why we talk so much about blockchain technology on this show, is because you need some more transparency and inclusion in terms of who gets to speak at these things as well, right? Because that's another massive problem where a lot of the people who would be making these decisions, I don't trust them to do it, right? So it's something we gotta deal with, and how we even get these conversations going in the right places. I think stuff like this is important. And then you vote with your attention and your dollars too. So I think that's an important thing to think about. Like, have you looked much into crypto at all?
Not really. It just hasn't been a part of my life. Like, I invested a little bit in some meme coins just for the sake of it. I think I still own like 100 Doge coins because they were cool.
Okay.
It was definitely like an interesting craze, but just something that I didn't research. I didn't really have the time.
Got it. Yeah, because a lot of people who are big advocates of Bitcoin, let's say, is because of the broken money system that's flows downstream to every other broken system, right? So that the point is that if the very thing that issues money is broken and evil and stealing from you, then how could every other system that's been built around that not be doing the exact same thing? And that's also like something that we try to talk about a lot. Is like, are we putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound in a lot of situations if you're not solving the underlying problem? And I think a lot of it is the actual money system itself. But yeah, I was just curious to see if you looked into crypto at all.
Yeah, I haven't. You know, the most I know about crypto is looking into like the crypto casinos and kind of how they bypass certain regulations. And I mean, the reason crypto is so prevalent is because it's difficult to trace who is this person that has this wallet. Like, you've got your ledgers, you've got the ability to see where money is coming and going, but who is behind that money? Who is actually the person making those transactions or those funds and stuff? It gets a little bit more muddy from the research that I've done. And I think that's why these crypto casinos are so prevalent, because it does become a little bit more difficult. They can say, you know, like, I don't know how these crypto casinos work on the back end, but are they able to, at the end of the year, say that they got a bulk of their revenue from Bitcoin, and then a bulk of their revenue from Ethereum, and then a bulk of their revenue from Solana, and not try to figure out who did this Bitcoin actually come from at this level? Like, they can just kind of wrap these three revenue streams into one report, but they're not actually looking into who's accessing it from. Yeah, who's there. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just a speculation type of deal. But yeah.
Yeah, I've not looked that much into the specifics there, but that's also a big problem that Bitcoin, or really any sort of real problems that can be solved from blockchain technology, has, is that a lot of the association and the branding is to a lot of these things that are very extractive and very bad, right? Which is also why there's such a bad relation. If you say the word Bitcoin or crypto, instantly people think of these things, which is really unfortunate, because these are some of the technologies that do have some of the best potential to solve a lot of the problems that we're currently yelling about. So it's a very confusing thing. I think a lot more conversations have to be had with a lot more smart people, but I think stuff like this is a great start. Keith, do you have anything else?
No, I mean, the one thing that I did want to touch on that you guys talked about was like the kids. So the thing that went through my head was like, all right, if kids are able to gamble, essentially, or learn that behavior through video games, how would that look if we were to mirror that to like alcohol or nicotine or whatever? And so the thing that came to my head is like, well, what if kids had a device where they could be smoking, but it not be nicotine or tobacco or whatever, right? And then I looked, okay, well, because I remember there's like these essential oils pens out there. And so that would be an example, right? So is it legal in the United States for these kids to smoke essential oil pens? Well, to buy them, and it's not, right? As an example. So even though it's not the actual substance, right, that might be harmful to them over their lifetime, the behavior is still being prevented by the law in some ways. And it's because they're electric cigarettes, right? Is the real reason why. But then also, I guess the next question would be, can kids in the US drink or buy non-alcoholic beer, right? Because that's another example of like, okay, the behavior is being groomed. So kids can do that, I'm pretty sure.
You can, okay.
I'm pretty sure you can.
Interesting.
States might have that, but the federal law does not prevent it. So anyways, so just thoughts that I was having, like, are there parallels between those things? And if so, then that's contradictory in some way, right? So why are we allowing the kids to have these things, these mechanics in these games, knowing that it can kind of lead to this type of addictive behavior over time? So anyways, just something I was thinking through. That was the only thing.
Love it, man. Great stuff. Yeah. So Andy, we've got only 5 more minutes left with you. So I'll give the keys to you completely. Where would you like to go for the last 5 minutes?
Man, I have no idea. I think the real solution, like the actual solution to this problem, is to live in the middle of the woods and use wood chips as currency, because that's the only way you'll ever truly escape. But like in all seriousness, I think the pendulum is swinging. I was really encouraged in one of the investigations I'm doing right now. I am seeing people even on social media make comments like, damn, we lost another creator to this gambling advertising. We this is happening, and I'm hopeful that in the next 3 to 5 years, maybe I can just start making videos investigating other stuff and not gambling creators doing things, because you could pick any one single gambling creator and there is a problem with them. Unfortunately, there's just, in my opinion, there isn't a world where this type of content can exist and be freely accessible on these social media platforms where it's not hurting somebody, because you just don't know. When you upload a video to TikTok, you don't know if TikTok is deciding to show that to a 13-year-old who just made an account or the 60-year-old who is primed and ready to watch that content without it being detrimental to their life. You don't know. You get 2 views and it could be the complete polar opposites as far as the audience that's getting targeted with that stuff. So I'm hoping that that pendulum is swinging and that more people are going to be educated and more people are going to be armed with the knowledge of what is happening at the subliminal marketing level. Because as an individual, you aren't going to beat out the marketing department of 12 people figuring out how to sell you something. Those people are going to win because it's a team. It's a team sport. If you're one guy against a team of 12 professional soccer players, you're going to get absolutely destroyed. You don't stand a chance. So it's really the same, I think. Like, that is the hopeful end result.
Yeah, I think people should be a lot more thoughtful about who they're giving their time to and be more selective with that. Like, people will care so much about who they like date or marry, but they don't think about who they spend time with on their phone, right? And for a lot of people, they're spending more time with the people they consume on their phone than they even are their partner or their friends. And so I think you should be thinking a lot more about that. Like, are you proud of this person that you're watching? And I think most people would say no almost all the time. That's also another massive issue with short form social media, is that everyone's LARPing over there. Like most of the people there that are even positioning themselves as experts, they don't know what they're talking about, but you'd have to be an expert to know that. So they trick so many people into this shit.
That's
They
the
pay a
Mickey
price
Mays
tag. Yes.
playbook. That's why he became so popular, because he spreads just enough of like a nugget of something that sounds
could make
kind of half
sense.
true. Yeah. And I think the other problem is, I've talked with a couple other creators about this as well. One of the biggest problems is that the things that Mickey says or the things that other gambling influencers say have just enough logical truth to seem convincing and real. So, for example, when Mickey says, I'm a winning advantage player, and you Google advantage play, it's a real thing. It's documented. People do make money being advantage players at the casino. The problem is that Mickey is selling you something that a fraction of a fraction of a fraction will ever achieve. That's the issue. So there's, and people are logical. People think, they're like, how does this make sense? Let me look it up. Let me do some research. Let me find something. But unless you dedicate your life to researching it and being able to call out those lies, you're never going to know. It's going to sound just believable enough that your surface level research is going to actually reinforce the lie being told to you.
That's like almost every social media expert that I come across, was that once I started making content about it, I'm like, yo, these people are just lying. Like all the time, because and it would be the same thing. They'd be like, this sounds like it could make sense, but then like I know they haven't tried this themselves. They're just saying it because they know other people will think it makes sense and then follow them for hopefully more information like this. So yeah, it's present all over the place. People are full of shit all over the place because being full of shit pays right now. But that's our fault, right?
Absolutely.
Like that's completely our fault. And I actually saw the guy who created School. He was talking about this. It was a really good point. He said, the internet is crazy because everything you could possibly want to learn is there, and it's probably there for free, but it's so scattered all across the internet, and there's not one benchmark of truth, right? Of like, does this person actually know what they're talking about? Because it's so scattered all over the place. And so if your benchmark for social proof is a Lamborghini, or like living in an expensive place, or for some people it might be subscriber numbers or likes. Like all these people, there's no like set benchmarks for what quality is. So it's a shit show where the best LARPers are making the most amount of money.
Absolutely. Well, and I think the social media platforms themselves, we talked about it a little bit, they are also rewarded for the success of content. So if somebody can convince enough people that what they're saying is true and lie to enough people, the social media platform also benefits. Like my video on Iraq got 500,000 views. Guess who also profited off of that video? YouTube and Google. Like they made money off of it. So they're happy to have me call out these creators. They're happy to have these creators cause outrage, because if like everybody's making money at the end of the day, it's disheartening, but it's also just the system and the way it works.
Totally, man. Totally. Well, MKAndy, this was absolutely awesome. We appreciate you joining us. Keith, did you have anything else before we let him go?
No, man. Yeah, appreciate you taking the time to join us, and also for just doing what you do.
Yes, we appreciate it tremendously. And also, we had MKAndy on our No Dice podcast as well. So definitely go listen to that episode. It was truly awesome. And as he teased, he's got a awesome investigative piece coming out pretty soon. So make sure you're subscribed. His socials are linked down below, and turn on the notifications over there so that you can be notified when his next investigative piece goes live.
Thank you guys so much. Absolute pleasure always. I love chatting with you guys. So likewise, I hope you also have a great rest of your guys' day. And thank you for the shout outs and just being great hosts. Really, really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks for doing this.
You're very welcome.
Have a good one.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Cool. Chat, how are we? MKAndy, everyone, go show him some love. His links are down below. I think he will be a name you see and a voice you hear more frequently.
Most definitely, folks. Yeah, man, great combo there. Interesting. Your question asking about the crypto piece. There definitely is some stuff I'll talk about in the community section.
Cool.
But yeah, man. We've got
like comments, you mean?
No, not even. Just the interview or the conversation that I had last Friday with our Age of Abundance guy.
Oh yeah. I haven't really talked to you about that, have I?
No.
Okay, so we'll save that for the community. Do you want to jump right into the news?
I'm ready to do so. How you feeling?
I'm ready. Hit me with the news.
Perfecto. So first things first.
I'm the realist.
We've had Kamala Harris. Apparently, Andrew Yang says that he heard Kamala Harris is preparing to run for president in 2028. The claim is based on what her camp is telling people in California. The Polymarket platform shows her odds at 9% for a Democratic nominee. And the early signal on potential 2028 Democratic contenders after her 2024 loss. So I saw a funny meme about this. I don't know if I'll be able to find it on the spot. Actually, I know I can because I sent it to someone. Let me see real quick. There's music here, but let me. So Andrew Yang said he heard that Kamala Harris camp is telling people in CA that she's preparing to run for president again. And then I saw this guy say this. This is the Republicans right now. I won't play it because there's music in there. But they're celebrating. Because they don't think that there's probably as much of a chance that would go well for them.
I feel like it's got to be someone new. Maybe Gavin Newsom can do it, but I feel like apart from him, it's got to be a new face.
Yeah, I mean, at least somebody who hasn't just already failed in that way. I don't know, man. It's really tough to say. It's different when you had. I'm trying to think, like, why was the Biden so different? Part of it was because, well, no, I was going to say because Biden was the VP, but so was Kamala Harris. She was the VP during his. So there's not that difference.
Hunter Biden. That's crazy. There was some rumbling about that. And then he just did a podcast with Channel 5 News and Nick Fuentes. Crazy collab. They're starting to do that a lot more, which is super interesting to me.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, like these political figures that were so opposed to talking to each other, now they're starting to like cross. So
Yeah,
if they all start saying something similar, I don't know, coordination.
Yeah, I've got a clip from that I'm gonna be dropping a video on probably tomorrow morning. I think it's from that. At least it's Hunter Biden talking about crypto, very minimum. But that was that piece. The next piece I have is we are talking about Apple hitting a $5 trillion market cap. Apple becomes the second company to ever surpass a $5 trillion market value, and they have overtaken NVIDIA as the world's largest company by market cap. A $10,000 investment in Apple stock in 2003 is now worth $15.5 million. Man, give me 10 racks back in 2003 at 4 years old.
And it's looking better and better by the day that they didn't chase this whole LLM craze.
Oh man, imagine that.
Because if OpenAI tanks, they can probably come up and swoop them up on the cheap if they wanted to. The brand may be not something they want to touch, but any of these other competitors, I'm sure they could get on pennies in the dollar if the whole thing pops.
That's very true. It's a very interesting thought for sure, and we definitely have to be a private when the private joints, or at least I mean it doesn't have to be, but that would be a lot of the models themselves are in that
But
state.
If you own the device layer, and they believe what Jeff believes, where this is this is going to be like a commodity, like the internet or whatever, in terms of similar type of technology, where everyone's just going to have it in everything, then that makes so much sense why they didn't chase it. Right? Because they're like, the winner, like, why would we try to go spend all this money creating when like it's going to be everywhere, anywhere, anyways, and then no one made money from it when you look back at it. So we'll just continue to own the device layer. That's also why ChatGPT spent so much money trying to hire the product guy from Apple. Is because if you really know about consumer psychology, you know that like this is really the moat, man. It's
Right.
the device.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Dude, Apple makes so much money from their app store too. People don't realize this. Like every time you spend any bit of dollars in the app store, 30% of it goes to Apple.
Crazy.
That's an insane. That's like a huge business.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I was just thinking about, I'm looking at the market caps and I'm like, I didn't really realize SpaceX is the 9th largest company in the world right now. And at the peak, it would have been like number 3 or 4.
That just doesn't make sense to me, man.
What would you completely unprofitable, right?
What would you put your we should do a timeline like for this whole space data centers, right? Give me your year of prediction. By what year do you think we have space data centers?
Well, give me 4 years to go to school to study physics, and then I'll come back. I have no idea.
I don't think we ever get them, bro. Maybe like, we probably get them, but in my lifetime, I'm even doubtful. Maybe I'm so wrong in this, but I think this is going to take so much longer than they're saying.
Maybe. I have literally no idea.
Yeah.
But
just seems like a logistical nightmare. Unless maybe they've got a ton of technology they've not shown us for a very long time that completely changes that equation. But we'll see. But I think it's at least 25, 30 years away, at least minimum, but I think even longer.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, it's definitely good for headlines to talk about space centers and space. I mean, space data centers.
Because you can't argue it. Because people can say you don't know the science, right? So like, and maybe that's fair, maybe that's true. But even if it's not, how would you know?
That's a good point.
It's the same with AI.
Why? In what way?
Well, because all the tech bros are just like, you don't understand. You've not seen what I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the ultimate trump card. It's like, why are we having this conversation?
Totally. The next piece is X. Apparently, is rolling out X money to some of its U.S. users. They've got banking for U.S. Premium and Premium Plus subscribers, free instant transfers up to 6% APY in savings, and a metal Visa debit card. This is built into the X app with early pay, ATM access, and strong FDIC protection.
This with Twitter could definitely bring crypto back. Oh, sorry, not Twitter's that. Twitter, money, and GTA, I think, is what brings crypto back to the mainstream, in my opinion. And they're gonna be pretty close in terms of full rollouts, like not that far apart.
It's an interesting thought, no doubt.
Shad says we'll never get a space station on the moon because they literally can't. Are you saying that from like a technical feasibility standpoint, or the fact that the aliens won't let them? Which one? Go ahead.
Well, interesting.
Because that is a conspiracy thing, that there's a fort or a whatever on the other side, the dark side of the moon. And so that when the astronauts went up to the moon, they saw the aliens, and the aliens said, "Don't come back here."
Wow. Haven't heard of that.
Now you know.
Now I know. Anything else on the X money piece?
No, I think this is going to be a very big deal, because the whole social finance thing, unfortunately, people are proven that they basically more or less want to gamble. And so if you can see that across the financial markets too, with all this stuff as well, and participate with that little of friction, because what a lot of people don't understand is I'd be willing to bet that the vast majority of wealth in terms of social media users is concentrated on X, because I know that other platforms have the sheer number of users, but those are mostly middle and lower class people. The really, really rich people, they spend all their time on Twitter. And so this is a bigger deal than I think people realize, because people may say, "Oh, we're poor." They're not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. The fact that crypto Twitter is such a thing.
It's Twitter, period. Like tech Twitter.
Well, I was just saying the fact that that's where these people are, and this is where crypto people aggregate. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, then that's where it could have both of those things in one place, is all I'm saying. Yeah.
Man, I really hope we get another altcoin season, obviously for my own income. But I also just want to see the people side, because there's very few people left in crypto, especially on Twitter. Like, the numbers are so gone. So I'll be very curious to see like how people come back, and like what they end up doing, and what people say. I'm super fascinated to see.
Always going to be interesting to see how crypto continues to develop. This next piece here is Circle acquiring IBM blockchain patents. So apparently, Circle bought 680 plus patent families and nearly 1,000 patents from IBM's blockchain portfolio. This deal makes Circle the leading U.S. blockchain patent holder, and these assets bolster USDC, Circle Payments Network, and ARC, and on-chain finance. So I didn't hear about this. I think this is super interesting. IBM also started what's called Hyperledger, and Hyperledger was acquired by Digital Asset, which is responsible for also the Canton network. So just a little bit of a web there for people to think about and potentially look into. But yeah, this is very interesting to me. He says 800 HLs had explained this to me like I'm 5. IBM had tons of okay, I get it now, but no. Yeah, I wonder what these patents are about. That's what I'm most interested in, but I haven't seen this before, so we'll have to figure it out. Anything on that?
No, man. When you find out, let us know.
Let you guys know. Bitmart exchange closing. This is a very big one, international sort of crypto exchange, winding down its trading platform after reviewing conditions and their strategy. So new deposits and trades will stop on July 26th, and all trading ends on August 26th, and the platform will fully cease in January 2027. So yeah, this is people are making a little bit of a deal out of this, because this is kind of the second large exchange of sorts that has shut down.
These are bottom signals for sure, in my opinion. But that's a good point that we had in there, that people can still pull out their funds, because we had a comment that was asking that question a few episodes ago, saying, what happens when these exchanges go down? Do people just lose their money?
That's a great question. Yeah, no, they usually have a winding down period, but people still lose their money.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, totally happens. But sometimes they'll have ways for you to still get it. Like I remember that happened on KuCoin once, and it was like, I guess it wasn't KuCoin itself that shut down. It's a different example, but there's usually some ways to get it back, but
it's not
good
easy.
luck. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's see. Anything else on that piece?
No, I think that it's definitely bad news. But for the people that are still here in crypto, like you get bad news at bottoms, man. So doesn't mean that better days aren't ahead.
Yeah, what I find fascinating about it this time is that it's like nothing really dramatic happened in my eyes.
There wasn't a moment, you're saying?
Yeah. Like usually this would happen, I guess, like as the market turns, right? Like when you have a more violent moment, like the October 10th thing that happened, that's when everyone should have been wiped out. When you had that flash crash sort of an incident and everyone's like getting collateralized or getting liquidated from all their collateral that was all misplaced and whatnot. And some people did in that time period, don't get me wrong. But this is a very gradual bleed. And I don't personally think that it's over yet. So it's like to see these decisions being made, both in the decentralized and in the centralized world, means that it is about, the conditions themselves, which, like you said, is natural part of the cycle.
Mm-hmm. So you said you don't think it's over yet. How much longer do
No.
you think we go down?
I don't know if it's a longer thing. I think it's more of just like the price itself, right? It just needs it's sitting in no man's land where it's like there's not really a reason for it to turn around right here. But anything can happen. What else was I going to say? Darn, what was I going to say? Oh, but another thing is like some of these things have been around for many cycles too. Like Bitmart is kind of old. So that's another thing about this that's kind of weird to me. But I guess if you never had an alt season, then maybe they never made as much money as they typically did during the upward rise.
Definitely possible.
Because all that money was made on Solana, basically. Let me see, founded date 2017. So it went through 2021 in that whole bear, and now it's going through this whole. It's not making it through this whole bear. Same thing for BitMEX. If we were to be honest, BitMEX was founded 2014. Like, okay, so why are they shutting down now? You know what I'm saying? I think that's kind of weird, but whatever. Cool. Next piece. Apparently Brazil, hey, what up, is tokenizing cows for loans. Brazil's B3 exchange registers the first loan using 10 tokenized dairy cows as collateral for 100,000 reais. AgTech CowMed creates digital IDs via IoT, Internet of Things collars, meaning collars that are connected to the internet for real-time cow monitoring and verification. That's cool. Farmers can borrow against livestock more easily without physical inspections or steep value discounts. Super interesting.
Yeah, there's the whole tokenize everything, and it does seem like that will become a bigger deal. And I think this also does help a lot of countries that haven't been able to participate in a lot of the global economy start to do so a lot more. And so that's something I'm excited to see.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I guess the thing that comes to my mind about this is kind of, it's kind of a little bit, there could be a dark side to looking at that. Like, so my first thought was, well, IoT is great for tracking location, but it could also be great for, it depends on how they're using this. I have no idea. Like if they're monitoring the heartbeat, right, of the cow, because that's the thing that's matters. Like you might have a collar around a cow that's dead. You know what I mean? So if you're not if you're not checking the heartbeat or the liveliness of the animal, then that's not as helpful. But where does that lead us, right? Probably to some weird places in terms of like how that would be used with humans as well.
So Chad's saying for the BitMEX thing, it's shutting down because they just got sued by power users for insider trading. According, says Chad.
Very interesting. Haven't seen anything about that.
Yeah, I've not either.
Which in some ways too, it's like if that's what you need to do to have profitability, or then things are wrong. Same thing with oh my goodness, with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. It's like that platform wasn't necessarily going to be profitable without them doing the crazy BS that they were doing. So it's like all the economics of that were no good. So anyways, see. Next piece, Claude sharing chats. Oh yeah, I did see this actually. So apparently, hundreds of Claude AI conversations had been shared via public links and therefore were appearing in Google search results.
That's crazy.
And so Anthropic's Claude chatbot and its share feature are involved. Private chats stayed private. Some contained personal work or sensitive details, raising privacy worries for AI users.
Well, it does make sense because a lot of people don't realize they're turning it into a public link to share it.
Totally. So some people were freaking out. They're like, delete everything.
Because a lot of people do say some wild shit to their AI. I'm always very selective with what I talk to about that thing. But
that's
like,
fair.
Because stuff like that, where that's so funny to think about. Because sometimes it might even just be they're asking a really dumb question. You know what I mean? People wouldn't want that out there as well, which is silly. Like, it's got to be, some of this stuff should be more private, I think.
That's super true, man. Let's see here. Next piece I have is Qualcomm. Qualcomm to raise the prices on Snapdragon by double digits. So Qualcomm is a chip maker. Apparently, they informed customers that it plans to increase prices for its products by a double-digit percentage from September 1st, citing rising supplier costs. So yeah, they're blaming supplier bottlenecks, which I mean, it's an AI-driven global memory shortage. We've also had some weird things happening in the Middle East regarding helium, and helium is necessary for these chips. I don't know if it has to do with that at all, but potentially. And this company, apparently they gave no specific figure and have not issued a public statement on top of this. They just told their customers, and this is kind of what's going on. So phones, tablets, wearables, and laptops are all expected to get pricier around the world.
Lovely. As if they weren't expensive enough.
Right. So there's that. Meta launches Facebook Verified. Meta rolls out a free Facebook Verified badge confirming real people behind profiles. Users verify with a short selfie video matched to their photos, and the badge shows in marketplace, dating groups to signal authentic accounts. A free alternative is aimed at reducing fakes and AI-generated profiles.
Yeah, that's a major problem that all social platforms have, is the bots. But do you want that solved in a centralized way? Like,
jeez,
I don't know.
Here we are. Here we go, folks. There was some news about some stuff happening in the gambling world, where a senator published a law. He's trying to get a law passed to get these gambling platforms to make sure that they have to verify people's identities so that kids can't use the platform. Noble cause, but you know, where does this all lead?
Yeah, where does it end too? Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm curious to see the kind of solutions that get created for these kinds of things through stuff like Midnight too, and like the other alternatives that are trying to solve that, like selective disclosure tech. What's up?
Yeah, it's interesting to think, man. I'm like, unfortunately, like the way that these things tend to work, I feel like maybe I'm wrong about this intuition, but it's like you need something bad to happen first. And so are we going to all get uploaded into the cloud, have to verify our identities to like access our bank account? And then something bad has to happen before we actually use these solutions like Midnight, you know?
Probably. Yeah, like you're seeing, what would be examples of really bad things that you could think of?
Just, I don't know, like what would happen is someone, a criminal hacking group in South Korea, North Korea, excuse me, hacks into banking platform with everyone's details.
Yeah.
And then like creates a virus that kills everybody within, you know what I mean? Because they knew they knew all their info.
I hear what you're saying. Totally. Yeah, I get what you're saying. North Korea is a wild thing as well. Have you heard about the whole thing where people are worried that they're North Korean spies? So part of the interview process is they make them say bad things about Kim Jong. Yeah. It's so good, man. But apparently that's actually a concern, because if you like, a lot of the most cracked hackers in the world are in North Korea, and then you give them AI tools too now, bro, scary.
Yeah. what an interesting thing to have like talent for, you know?
Well, because
Makes
they're,
sense.
if you think about it, kind of a genius move on their part. We're economically sanctioned by everybody. So let's go do the online thing, right? The crypto thing. And it's definitely not a good look for the industry, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah, no, I mean, very, very great use of talent in a world where everything's online now.
And if
have
you
power.
win, you win so huge,
That's true.
right? And they've had a few of those as well, where it was suspected that it was a North Korean hacker group that had achieved a lot of these cryptos like hacks, and they make big bucks, especially in something that's an appreciating asset too.
Right. That's the thing about it, is it's infinite money in a sense. Like it's infinitely valuable versus whatever you're spending in a
Totally.
sense from a nation state level.
Oh, totally. Because like, who's using the North Korean currency anywhere else too, right? Like even what you're
True.
paying the labor for, it's like
That's true.
right?
You can print the money and then
Yeah.
you get Bitcoin in return. Wow, without having to buy it. So then it doesn't matter the value of your currency; it just matters what the people in your economy are willing to accept.
Yeah, you just control that local economy in terms of just the country.
That's actually wild. That's actually wild. Wow. Because there's very few things where you could get away with that essentially not impacting like some other major outcome. Like if you subsidize car manufacturing the way China did, like you need to sell the cars in a sense. Like,
yeah.
So then it has to be good, and it has to travel and like all these things.
So many more complications. This is the industry of making money.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, wow. Never really fully thought that through. That's an interesting strategy for how to spend your country's resources.
Yeah. What do you got next?
Next piece. It's time to react to some stuff. We got some memes.
Hit me with the memes, please.
So this first piece, Pomp versus Peter Schiff. This is a longer clip. We're gonna work through it and chat as we hear some of the things going on. So Anthony Pompiano, famous Bitcoin investor, podcaster, Peter Schiff, economist, longtime gold advocate and seller as well. And so they have a little bit of a debate here. Let's hear it.
Gold is up 21% over the last year. Bitcoin is down 45%. That means you're winning.
How would that? It's gold versus Bitcoin is the game.
And then the S&P is up 18%. So gold's outperforming the S&P over the last year. Bitcoin is negative. But if you go back 10 years, the compound annual growth rate of Bitcoin has been 60%. Gold has been 12%, and the S&P has been 13%. So actually, over the last decade, gold and the S&P have pretty much given the same exact return. And then Bitcoin has been substantially more. Now, I know people will say, oh, it's because it started a smaller base. It was a much smaller asset, blah, 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 whatever.
But yeah, you can't just dismiss that. That's the key.
Well, you can look at last 4 years. Bitcoin is compounded at 31%. Gold is compounded at 24%. And the S&P is compounded at 17%.
All right. But that's only because Bitcoin had a lot of volatility over the last 4 or 5 years. So it really depends.
That's like saying, she gave birth to me. That's why she's my mother. Like, of course.
Well, look, most people who have bought Bitcoin over the last 5 years are losing money. That's basically reality.
Over the last what?
5 years.
5 years?
Yeah. If you've been buying Bitcoin.
The compound annual growth rate of Bitcoin over the last 5 years is 14%.
Okay. So Michael Saylor is the biggest buyer of Bitcoin in the world. He's been buying for over 5 years. And he's down. His average cost is $75,000 on 60 some odd billion worth of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is 65,000. He's down 10,000 per Bitcoin after having bought it over 5 years. So if his experience is typical of other people, but who have been average, well, I mean, he's been buying every week for years and years and years, and he's losing money. But what? There is no buts.
A huge reason for that is because as he has grown in size, he has more and more access to capital. And so
he bought Bitcoin with it.
Correct. He's accelerated the purchases. Now, if you bought the same amount every single day or week for the last 4 or 5 years, the same amount the whole time, then you would be up significantly. You would not be down.
Well,
so I'll stop there a second, because that's like the Dave Portnoy. Like, yeah, like dude's lost millions of dollars in crypto because he's an idiot. also. Because if you do what Pomp is saying, it'd be really hard to lose money in Bitcoin, actually.
Yes, that always gets brushed over when convenient.
Yeah. So someone was bringing it up earlier. It's like DCA and just DCA and just DCA. Somebody said, every time I DCA, I get a chance to DCA at a lower price. How awesome is that?
Yeah, if you believe in the thing, that is how you should respond. It's very counterintuitive to how we operate as humans, but if you can train that, that's how you beat markets, basically.
Exactly, man. We so underestimate how much of investing is a psychological phenomenon. Like
It's all of it, man.
it's really is. So
'Cause
if you,
when money is a psychological concept, how could this not be?
Yeah, when it only exists in our minds and in the collective consciousness of humanity, it's like everything is based upon, are you able to do the things that are against what everyone else is trying to do in those times? And then, that can be very helpful for you. So it's just a fun part of the conversation. I'll get back to it because I think there's some more fun stuff in here.
Well, yeah, obviously he spent a lot more money when Bitcoin was higher than he did when it
Hence
was
why
lower.
he is down.
Yes.
That's how math works.
Okay,
right?
I guess I will concede that point.
Okay, that's great.
But Peter's being reasonable here. Wow. He usually doesn't actually argue in a reasonable way or concede points. So let's see.
If you look
We're
at
making progress, it's like a therapy session. We're making progress.
Bitcoin first got to 64,000 in April of 2021.
Okay.
It's barely higher than that now. Bitcoin got to 69,000 in November of 2021. It's lower than that now. So Bitcoin has not made any progress at all from where it was in 2021, from those highs. That is a significant development.
Well, that is true today.
Yes.
But hold on. But if you if you go rewind 4 months ago or 5 months ago, that was not true. So because of the volatility, you can pick, okay, let me go back 4 years to the absolute top of that market, and then let me pick the bottom of this market. And I'm
just saying, here's where we are now.
Okay.
Right? Forgetting about,
you're like a technical analysis guy. Don't you guys draw like imaginary lines from tops and bottoms and they line up?
The other thing that you have to factor in is, okay, what has happened in the crypto industry over these last 5 years? And all the things that have happened are things that were positive for Bitcoin, creating more demand for Bitcoin. The introduction of ETFs that didn't exist 5 years ago, the creation of Bitcoin treasury companies, not just Strategy, but all the other ones. Countries like El Salvador, countries having Bitcoin reserves, the strategic U.S. reserve, Donald Trump, a Bitcoin cabinet, make America the Bitcoin capital, all these things to try to generate more demand, more adoption, more people. Yet despite all that stuff, the price is not higher than it was 5 years ago.
Well, it went 2x higher. It went 2x higher.
Briefly, it couldn't stay there. It couldn't sustain it.
Well, gold is down how much from its all-time high?
Yeah, not quite 20%, about.
Okay, let's call it 20%. Hold on.
Simple there. Like, why would Peter try to do that? Like Peter, you're using these time frames, right? Pomp already really called it out, but it's like, okay, Peter, we're moving in 4-year cycles at the very minimum. What that's based on, I don't know. But to think that you're going to cherry pick when the end of the peak of this cycle is coming in and say, oh, it hasn't gone anywhere in 4 years.
It's preying on the ignorance of his audience too, right? Or maybe it's his own ignorance too. I don't know. Maybe it's a convenient thing where I have to not see this because otherwise what am I doing here kind of thing.
Totally.
But yeah, it's that's just present whenever people talk about Bitcoin all the time, man. Up to here on how you doing? You know what I mean? Like they skip over so much of the formative education in terms of what the bigger philosophy is on a lot of these things. So yeah, very interesting, very convenient to pick the dates.
So Jay Heron says 4-year cycles is hogwash. He said, come on, guys, don't you see that BTC is a fugazi for most? I'd love to hear why Bitcoin is a fugazi for most in particular. I'd love to hear what you're thinking.
XRP.
Well, let's hear him say it. And then I do want to look at this chart here. I want us to look at this real quick. and explain also why the 4-year cycles is just completely fugazi when this is just what has been happening. I'm not telling you why. I'm not telling you it's because of the Bitcoin mining cycle. I'm not telling you it's because of the liquidity cycle. I'm not telling you it's because of the business cycle. I'm just showing you on the chart that this is what has happened over and over again here.
So what does that make? Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
No, don't apologize. I cut you off.
Yeah.
So what is like the key takeaway from the point you just made there?
That well, he just said that the 4-year cycle is a hogwash. It was like, well, it's not. There's statistical things that are happening here. Right? I can't argue against it.
It's valid until it's invalidated. Yeah.
And it's fine. But it just is valid for now. But so let's continue. Or did you have something you want to say?
No, man. No, this is really interesting. I watched this interview. It was fun.
Oh, cool. I haven't seen it.
But just think about this for a second. So if gold's down 20% from its high and Bitcoin is down 50% from its all-time high, right? Which about the right numbers. Gold's volatility, I don't know what it is, but Bitcoin, let's call it like 35, 40 vol asset. So you would expect that ratio to generally hold. So both gold and Bitcoin are down off its all-time highs. When they go back up, which I think that both of us believe Bitcoin and gold will go back up, then you should expect for Bitcoin to outperform.
Well, I don't know why you'd expect anything of the sort. But if you go back to 2021, when Bitcoin, peaked out at above 60,000, gold peaked out below 1,900.
Yeah.
So gold
but for a decade before that, it was pretty much flat.
Gold, yeah, right. But gold is double what it was in 2021, and Bitcoin is below where it was in 2021.
Yeah, but I can pick a random date.
No,
too.
come on,
Let's go back to 2010.
It's not a random date. I'm just picking the high point. But the public in America, for sure, spent a lot more money buying Bitcoin than they did buying gold. They would have been much better off had they bought gold.
You think so?
Yeah, there wasn't much retail demand for gold. In fact, if you look at the ETFs,
they told me Costco was popping.
That was recently that Costco started selling some physical gold. Yeah. But there's not that many Costcos. It's
how are we talking about? That's a suburban.
It's not like
club.
McDonald's. Like there's one, there's not as many of them. But given all that stuff that has happened, that's a significant development that has failed to cause Bitcoin to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So. I think that you have to just throw out the early returns for the first 10 years.
Well, if I was you, I'd want to do that too.
No, because I think they're irrelevant. Because if you're always going to go back to day one, let's say 5 years from now, Bitcoin is at 10,000. Let's say it's at 10,000 in 5 years. You could still say, well, over the past 20 years, it's outperformed everything, and you'd be correct. But it would be such an irrelevant time period for the vast majority of people who own it.
But over the next 5 years, do you think Bitcoin outperforms gold?
No, I think it goes down. I think 5 years from now, Bitcoin will be lower than it is today.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, same reason it's lower than it was 5 years ago. I just think that there's more people that are going to want to get rid of it than who are going to want to buy it. It doesn't generate a return. It doesn't generate any income.
Neither does gold.
But gold has actual use.
Which is?
I mean, it's a metal. It's a precious metal. It's used in all kinds of things. Here, I have some in my watch.
7% of gold is jewelry.
Well, it's about 50% of the demand every year.
Can you pause it for a sec?
What?
So Jack Mahler's the guy we've talked on the show before who used to run a Bitcoin treasury company and big Bitcoin guy. He addressed that point, right? Where people would say, oh, gold is better because it does have utility. And his argument was that actually makes it a worse form of money. Because like a perfect money would only be perfect money, I guess is the point that he was making, right? Because that kind of undermines a lot of what it's supposed to be. So if you want to hear more about that, go over to Jack Mahler's where he provides that explanation for his point.
Out of the new demand. But look, central banks use it as a reserve asset. It's now it's replaced treasuries now, and it's heading much higher as far as its percentage of reserves. And as the dollar comes under pressure, central banks, de-dollarizing by definition is buying gold. That's what they're doing. But I think that you're going to have more people who own Bitcoin who want to buy it, right? I mean, want to sell it, right? People bought it a long time ago.
Is that a Freudian slip?
No. People who bought it a long time ago are going to look to, spend it, sell it, do something with it. if to the extent that you want crypto to use it as a medium of exchange, there are better alternatives than Bitcoin.
I'll make a bet with you.
And tokenized gold, I think, will be
let's make a bet.
Much more useful.
We should bet 1 Bitcoin 5 years from now that Bitcoin outperforms gold. You send me a Bitcoin. If gold outperforms Bitcoin, I send you a Bitcoin.
Well, yeah. Well, you can't send me gold. Well, if you send me gold, I have a bet.
You can't send
I have.
Let's make that bet. That's a great bet. That's a great bet.
I have one bet with a friend of mine. That's the only bet I have on Bitcoin. And the open bet I have, and we've been making bets back and forth, but we have an ounce of gold. And if it hits 50,000,
if gold hits 50,000?
No, if Bitcoin hits 50,000, I win. If it hits 150,000, I lose. So we made the bet a while ago. It was when it was closer. Was what would it go first, 150 or 50? Yeah. I took the 50.
Okay, but
so we got an ounce to go. But
my bet was pretty good, right?
Your bet is for 5 years. I don't know. It's five.
If you believe what you're saying, let's make a bet in that from today, if Bitcoin outperforms gold, then you give me a Bitcoin. But if Bitcoin does not outperform gold, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
But what about the gold? What if Bitcoin is actually less than gold? I still just get the Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's a bet.
So we're betting a Bitcoin, but I don't have any Bitcoin.
That's fine. You can use one of those changers. You send cash, it'll send me a Bitcoin.
I'd have to go buy you a Bitcoin. I don't know.
That's fine.
Because what if it goes up? I'm like unhedged on that. I'm
unhedged if it goes down.
No, you own Bitcoin. You just give me one of your Bitcoin.
All right, so we got a deal.
I'll think about it. I'd have to buy. Right. I think that it's yeah.
That's awesome. I feel like Pomp kind of wins either way in that bet. I didn't think about it until he laid it out, because if Bitcoin goes higher and then Peter owes him a Bitcoin, then he gets a whole Bitcoin and the extended value of whatever that is in US dollars. Whereas if it goes down and he owes Peter a Bitcoin, that's way less in US dollar value than he would otherwise have to pay him, right? So anyways.
Fun.
Yep. Anything else on that one?
No.
Cool. Next piece, Sam Altman, the co-founder and CEO of OpenAI, basically says that companies enable people to pool capital, align incentives, and fund technologies too ambitious for traditional family businesses, and that this has led to capitalism dramatically reducing extreme poverty and has improved health, economic growth, and quality of life worldwide. Let's hear him talk about it.
A new kind of status, really, a thing that didn't exist before. This very powerful thing that we're going to let these new entities emerge and not give them the power of a state, but give them like much more than the power of a person. And fundamentally, this was about, incentive alignment, liability protection, which is another kind of incentive alignment, the ability to like amass capital. And all of a sudden you could do things beyond what a family business could do. And that environment let people raise money to develop technologies, very speculative nature, pool capital, figure out ways to get different companies to sort of specialize in different ways and interact with each other, serious financial systems and new kinds of instruments. This was really an incredible thing. And the idea of a company has done a huge amount to align incentives of very large groups of people. Now, millions of people can be shareholders of a company. There's a bunch of other things we do, but I don't want to diminish what has been this incredible invention and like the just ridiculous overperformance of capitalism in human society. Like a chart that I think people should look at much more than they do is the like fall of extreme poverty over the last 100 years.
Like infant mortality and all the other things.
Any of them that you want, any of the associated things. If you like kind of look back at that's like the most zoomed in view of the last 100 years. But if you look back at kind of economic growth, quality of life improvements, all of these things, and you just like drew out all of human history and you put the line when like the company was invented, you would see like a really quite interesting change in the shape of that curve after it. Beyond that, I think we have a mission that transcends any amount of economic power anything else could ever do. And that's probably more important.
And what is that?
What is what? Sorry.
Their bigger purpose.
For the tech.
You saying to uplift humanity?
Oh. Yeah, I guess so.
I'm saying horse shit.
We've got some more words from Sam Altman. Him talking about us having reached the singularity as well. Let's hear some of this.
If you had to think about the way that you operate today versus the way that you would have operated 10 years ago, if placed in the exact same position that you are currently, what are the biggest differences between those two people?
Well, to the previous question, the thing that drives me the most is like, this is the most interesting, important thing I can imagine doing. And we are now like in the singularity. Like this is the moment. For the last 10 years ago, this was like a kind of far off dream at best. It seemed very improbable.
So
And
for context, people,
moment that we used to like.
The singularity is the point in which there's a few futurists who have described it, where the rate of change is so fast you can't even really experience that it's happening because the tech is improving itself and the things that come afterward in an exponential rate. So that like takeoff, the singularity is a moment that gets referred to a lot. I just want to provide context for anyone who may not know what that word means.
Love that. Appreciate that.
Like talk about at the lunch table in a very not serious way. And so the thing that drives
sorry,
me,
I forgot one more thing. It's also an incredibly convenient marketing narrative, right? Like we talked about with our former guest that we had on, we talked about the AI bubble. Basically, it's a very convenient thing to say when we are trying to raise money. So go ahead and continue.
I've been waiting for this my whole life. And I think it's going to be incredible, hugely positive, awesome for the world. I'm excited to get to work on that. I also think some of the alternative visions painted by other companies are like quite terrifying. I'm going to make sure that gets pushed against and is not what happens. But the main thing of what's different than 10 years ago is like, we're actually in it. Like this is the real, I think it is both true that it is all one crazy exponential and any one moment is not like the tipping point. And also that we are somehow in another one of those decisive periods where the curve can go one way or another, like it was when we started 10 years ago.
Anything else you want to add to that piece?
No, I think that it's tough because when you talk about these, I guess I do have something to say. When you talk about when you talk about these things, feelings get involved so much, right? Because AI has become one of those words where everybody feels like they have to have a very strong opinion, and people have varying levels of understanding of what that word means to them, right? Some people, when you hear AI, you're referring to the technology itself. Even that is not AI. Like that's a branding term that got associated with it. Very convenient one. These are large language models, right? Then secondly, it's are you referring to the frontier model providers, the OpenAI, the Claudes? Like for a lot of people, the Anthropic, that's what AI is, right? So I think it's very important to like determine definitions of terms before you even engage in these conversations and before you get pissed off. So like, I think that AI does do a lot of the things that they say it will over a longer time horizon, in my opinion. And I don't think OpenAI is around to experience a lot of that, in my opinion. So like, I think the financial thing, as we've brought up Ed Zitron so many times in this, is that what pops this is not anything beyond the financials, right? Like they haven't found a way to make money from this. It is a very hard interface to make money from. So there's always the whole adage of, and this may be in the sheet later, but there's always the whole adage of, we can just throw ads at it. It's going to solve this money problem. If you have a brand that no one trusts, right, in OpenAI, you think you're going to start trusting it when they start pumping you with ads in it too, right? So they don't have a solution to this problem. And they've brought in a lot of people who are very creative in terms of getting advertising into products. But I don't know how you crack this one before you run out of money. So obviously, Sam Altman needs to be a magician of belief for you to believe this AGI singularity shit is coming so that I can keep this thing running until hopefully that happens. And then if it does, I win.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't,
he doesn't care.
I wasn't given enough time.
Fair. Yeah. And like, they don't care. Like, think about it. Dude's rich AF. So like, this is fun for him.
I don't care about money as he pulls up in his $1 million car. fuck up.
Yeah, it's another piece of this that I think is worth talking about. These people are getting compensated crazy amounts of money, and for Sam Altman in particular, he was already very well off. He had already had tons of success in tech. Like this is literally an experiment for him. Like it could totally fail, and he will be just fine.
Mm.
And he definitely doesn't care about his reputation because he would probably talk a lot different and move a lot different if he did.
Yeah.
But next piece, still in the AI realm, Mr. Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang, says Anthropic's restricted Mythos AI model should be available to everyone. He dismisses limited waitlists as security theater and says jailbreaks are normal software issues to patch. Let's hear him talk about it a little bit here.
Do you think we're ready for Anthropic's powerful Quad Mythos to be available to everyone? Are our systems sufficiently hardened?
It should absolutely be available to everyone. It's their responsibility to make sure that it's hardened. No software.
So you're saying all users, not just selected institutions as it is now?
That's correct. Yeah, they had to make it available for people, and it's their job to make the technology hardened and safe and secure. And whatever jailbreaks or whatever vulnerabilities there are in the software, as soon as they find it, they ought to fix it. That's the nature of software. And look what happened. It was released. Somehow it was jailbreaked, and it was able to do things that maybe they were trying to guardrail it for not to do. But everything was fine. You and I are still here having a conversation, and not that I'm encouraging it, but that's the job of companies. They're supposed to identify vulnerabilities and patch it up as quickly as possible.
So this is a message to both the White House and to Anthropic that you think that Mythos should be available to all.
Mythos should be available as a service. Yeah, and remember, just because Mythos is not available, open models are available anyhow. And so I think that let Anthropic run. Let them continue to advance the technology that they created. Let it be put in the hands of as many companies as possible so we can all use it and benefit from it. And holding Anthropic back is not in the benefit of the United States. And let them run.
Keith, tell me your thoughts.
The truth is, man, I really have nothing. I just don't have horse in the race, I guess, and so it's hard for me to say anything.
Fair. Yeah, well, of course he's gonna say that. Like, how much money has Anthropic paid to NVIDIA? I'm sure there's a shitload. I don't know the specifics, but like, I'm sure the expansion of his business is advantageous to the expansion of both. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's super true.
So
very good point.
The incentive structure there is a little murky at best, but I get the point that he's trying to make, basically, where if these open source models are just going to keep getting better and you try to hold back the ones that are supposed to be the frontier, like, does that create a problem? I think like Jeff Booth's thesis of this technology becoming something that is just like a lot more like the internet, where everyone has access to it, may become more and more of a thing. And that doesn't bode well to a lot of the people who have become really rich from it now, right? Because if the world looks completely different, capturing that value becomes more difficult as these models get better and better and more accessible, open sourced. So yeah, man, there's a lot of theatrics going on, and there has to be.
Big herd on that.
Big herd.
Next piece we have here is Dr. Phil previewing the White House UAP files. So apparently he reviewed the latest UAP disclosure files at White House before the public release. Unidentified aerial phenomenon, correct, Ben?
That is correct.
Cool. Let's hear Dr.
Dr.
Phil talking about it.
Fucking crazy.
I have seen electronic evidence that I believe indicates that there are...
It's all a psyop. It's gotta be. I'm convinced, bro.
It's a wrap. It's a wrap.
You get Dr. Phil on Piers Morgan, I'm out.
Let's hear it.
Aliens aren't real, people.
That are doing things that we don't have the technology to do. There are aircraft that are making maneuvers at speeds and G-forces that we simply don't have the capability to do. And it's not a close call, Piers. We've seen some aircraft on radar screens and tracking, and they've also been visually confirmed by credible observers, military pilots, commercial aircraft pilots, and seen by different people and on different tracking devices that would be making maneuvers that G-forces would be like 10,000. We don't have that capability. There's no explanation for that. And of all the sightings that are out there that I've seen going through these 4 different groups of disclosure documents, about 40% of them are just simply not explainable by our own technology.
Yeah, that one got me, Chad.
What?
The UFO take that no one on Earth asked for.
Brand One said that he has a PhD in astrodynamics. Was that a troll? Because on his Wikipedia, I don't see that.
Okay, interesting. Because I'm like, there's just like no way.
I see BA in psychology, and then a master's in experimental psychology, and then a PhD in clinical psychology. So obviously, Wikipedia is notoriously inconsistent on things, but I don't see that. Where'd you see that?
There's a Dr. Phil plate, but I don't think it's our Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil McGraw. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's Lucas. That was my whole point, right? Is if they get to the point where they're like, okay, all those people that used to watch the Dr. Phil show, we need him to push the narrative. I'm like, oh fuck. It's like Maury. Did you ever watch Maury as a kid? That show was crazy. My sister was obsessed with that show, Keith.
That's awesome.
And
I definitely watched a ton of Maury.
Maury was crazy. Brand went, that was a good troll. Because I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I gotta apologize to Dr. Phil here.
I'm over here trying to find the deets, man.
I'm like, oh my god, that's a conspiracy.
That's great. The thing that came to my head was Dave Ramsey. I'm like, this is like Dave Ramsey coming on here talking about this. Like, why am I hearing this?
The egg must be huge.
Yeah. So fascinating, guys.
Maury Povich ruled. Maury.
It broke my heart when I realized how reality TV worked, I guess. Is
how bad it was.
Yeah,
it's so sick. Ask Neil deGrasse Tyson, then I may listen. He's now coming out and saying they're real.
Wow.
So yeah, they've already gotten to him as well. These are and again, he's another one where he also attracts a very certain type of person. I have like one friend who's obsessed with that guy, and okay, cool. So they're getting them too,
right? Trying to get all the people wrapped in. Feels like some 2020 stuff.
Totally.
You can pick up and put down.
Yeah, man. Aliens.
Oh yeah, I did see this one. Trump was at a White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he announced that he will seek a 4th term. Let's hear him say it first before I dive any deeper.
Okay, but we are all doing good together. That's why tonight, to show just how much I care about the press, and I want to save your ratings, I'm pleased to announce my intention to, and this is somewhat of a scoop, my intention to run for a 4th term as President of the United States. I will be doing that. I will be having an official, in fact, I think I have, I won 3 times. Now I'm going to do it again. Thank you. I'm going to do it. Should be easy. I'm getting very good at running for president. No, I won 3 times, did very well the 2nd time, by the way. It's a rigged election, but we don't have to talk about it. It's interesting when you come back and you do a good job like we did, and you don't care about it so much, but we do have to tighten up these elections because they really are in seriously bad shape.
Keith D.
So apparently that was a joke. When I saw that, there wasn't, it had just happened. So there wasn't the framing of, oh, this was a joke at the time. It was just like, oh, he announced he'll run for a fourth term.
Kieran said,
how I took it.
Kieran said, you guys don't think he's going to do it? He is.
Yeah,
I'd love to put a poll out to the audience and comment section later if we clip this up. Like, do you think he's joking?
Yeah, I mean, he's made this joke multiple times now. You know what I mean? So it's like, that becomes less of a joke if you keep saying it, right? But I look at it as a testing the waters.
Definitely. But I do think his support is just diminishing so greatly, where I do think the threat of that is diminishing by the day. Not of the attempt, of the successful attempt.
Yeah, I mean,
long
like
term, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like it'll cause problems.
Yes.
For sure. Yeah, there's no doubt that it'll cause problems if he does do that.
I think that's justifiable to cause problems if you try to do that.
Yeah, I mean, just the whole fact that he took a piece out of everyone's night a few weeks back, or like 2 weeks back, if at most, to talk about the elections without telling people what he was going to talk about, right? He was just like, I'm going to address the nation, and like talked about the elections. And now there's like rumors that it might be in the doc or something, but he's going to like potentially try to stop mail-in voting for the midterms this year as well. And basically interfering in these elections. And look, he's been talking about that for a long time. There's a lot of conversation about that. I'm not there. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I ain't even there. And there's reasons for that. But anyways, see how that all goes down. But Musk hits back at a reporter. There's the next piece here. Elon Musk interviews with The Economist editor Zanny Minton-Bedoya. She says some people loathe him for political influence. Let's hear what he had to say about that.
Politics. You don't even live there.
I think of it as the sort of the West collectively.
But do you see why this makes people think that this man who has all this power, he's the world's richest man, he thinks he has a right to influence our politics? It makes people, it's why, we started this conversation saying superlatives. It's why people loathe you. I mean, some people do loathe you.
Yes, some people do.
But do you understand why? Do you think what you're doing is helpful for Western democracy?
Maybe some people do loathe me. And that's probably true. I don't care. But the fact that, as you pointed out, 250 million people follow me is that I think a lot more people actually like me than don't. And I think a lot more people hate you and the media more than you realize.
Politics. You don't even live there.
It's stupid. Keith, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
I think that goes both ways. I mean, they could say that they have a bunch of followers too, and people love them, but they follow them for the news. They follow them to understand what's going on and get an opinion. And I don't know. Yeah, I've lost a lot of, I guess, neutrality on Musk, even when he did the thing that he did last year.
What thing?
He got political. Just got political. It's like, all right, cool.
Yeah, I just kind of see it all as the same thing, right? So how he's saying that a lot more people like me than like the traditional media. Personally, it's like I just think because most of those people haven't realized that you're basically the same thing.
Right.
Right. And I think that's starting to happen more and more. So I think statistically he may be close to right now. But I think it's just a matter of time as more education takes place, where I think that will shift as well. And there's a lot of people that talk about the power struggles that have been taking place between like the tech elites trying to take down the opposition, which is a lot of government, which has been owning the media for a very long time in indirect ways. And so now it's like a battling of tech elites versus the political structure, the traditional financial elites too, like the financial industrial complex versus the technological industrial complex. It's something that Simon Dixon refers to a lot. And so, yeah, I get what you're saying, but also for them to achieve their mission, scary to say it like that, because he did kind of look like a supervillain in that interview, is that they have to get involved with politics.
Yeah, true.
Because they're not looking to just get rich, man. They're looking to take over everything.
Fair. Super fair. Next piece that I've got here is fake grandma profile flood. So apparently a tech user created fake 70-year-old grandmother accounts on Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Telegram. In under 24 hours, the Facebook page gained over 4,500 friends, and WhatsApp got more than 2,000 messages worldwide. The video shows constant friend requests, flirting messages, and international calls hitting the fake elderly profile. People are sharing this to warn about online risks facing vulnerable accounts and family members. Let's see a little bit of what is going on here. So, okay, so Noham at no_tech, I guess, went ahead and created these profiles and then is showing that he's getting all of these messages from people after creating a fake account. So
what did the grandma look like, though?
That might be interesting. That might be important.
Gotta
Maybe.
Does they show? Because they definitely made that thing a beautiful woman.
Yeah, they didn't even really describe or say. I mean, yeah, I don't really know why he would share. Like, I don't know what we're supposed to really take away from that. Because, like, yeah, because he didn't reveal what he did to capture these people's attention, right? Because that would be more important, I think. What does that actually look like in practice? This guy says, a breaking news, man invents fictional scenario and then gets angry about it.
It's kind of like the guy that the thing that you had brought up the other day, where the guy was reacting to fake AI videos and then getting mad at people for saying that.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, well, sir, I don't know what you're accomplishing here, but all right. Next piece. This was fun. Hoskinson, Mr. Charles.
I'm so glad this is in here. I was hoping it was.
Snaps on a interviewer. Let's hear him talk about this real quick. You know, Charles is the founder of Cardano and also co-founder of Ethereum, but he doesn't like that. Let's talk about it.
Charles, I want to take it back to the origin story, and forgive me and indulge me a little bit here, because I've never had the chance to ask you in person the actual story behind what happened with the founding of Ethereum.
Because the founding of Ethereum, dude, and shame on you for asking it. Do some basic fucking research. It's been 12 years, and I've answered the question 400 times in every goddamn interview. Imagine my life experience, every interview. Hey, you worked at a place 12 years ago for 6 months and books have been written about it. Can you go back to that and walk me through step by step everything that happened? You're lazy. Dude, in any basic research, it is lazy. In any basic research, there are hundreds of interviews where I've spent 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours talking about it, going back and forth about it.
Again,
12 years, man.
I had
12 years. You want to ask me about the 12 years of how we built Cardano to a $100 billion ecosystem and solve some of the hardest problems of computer science? Or you want to talk about 6 months of my life 12 years ago that I've already talked about 200 times, 300 times, 400 times? Again, if a traumatic event happens in your life and you're done talking about it, you've said what you wanted to say, it's not appropriate. Just keep badgering people after 12 years about the goddamn thing. I'm so tired of talking about Ethereum. You know, I'm so tired of it.
So I loved seeing that, truthfully, and I think it's a fair response. And of course, this guy is getting the brunt of a lot of pent-up frustration from people doing this over and over again. But like, if you're going to have someone that high profile on your show, you should do a little bit of research on them, right? So for example, if you'll notice, when we had him on our show, we made sure to highlight all the things that he did care about, right? Because your job as the interviewer is to understand who you're having on as much as you can, especially if you are a crypto first show. Not knowing that he said this before does show you're lazy. Do you know what I'm saying? Because he said that a bunch of times. If you've watched any of his content, he's like, I'm tired of talking about this. Because one, he was only there for 6 months. So that's a very important thing to keep in mind. 6 months, like how many things have you done for 6 months in your life that you just like don't want to talk about anymore, right? You're like, it's not relevant to me. And also, he basically has to advertise his biggest competitor all the time when he talks on these interviews.
True.
So I get the response. That guy looked a little shell-shocked and scared, but I get the frustration because it's just not relevant to what he's trying to achieve and why he's there in the first place. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, Keith.
No, yeah, I think it's a super fair response, and like he didn't like super blow up on him. I think he just was like, "Yo, like
chill."
Literally, I've talked about this 400 times.
Yes.
And he took it as an opportunity. I mean, definitely sends a signal to everybody else as well.
And then also what he said, he's like, I'm doing this way because the only way that people see shit is if it gets clipped up because there's controversy. Right? So he kind of like broke the third wall when he was talking about his stream in terms of like why he did it. He's like, so this is now, no one has the excuse where they can't say they haven't seen it. Like, you don't have to do the work now. I'm doing it for you, basically, for this, which is
that's awesome.
A fantastic point. And I'm a huge fan of Charles. I like Charles a lot. And because he's just honest, right? And he made the point in his stream last night where he said, when you're just honest and tell people what you're going to do and you actually do it, people like lose their mind. Right. And so he's like, if I've said I don't want to talk about this anymore, and then you try to make me talk about it, how do you think I'm going to respond? And I think he's just reached a point where he just doesn't give a shit anymore. And I like to see it.
Shout out to Charles for letting it fly and let it be known. Yeah, it's cool, man, because he still talks to people. You know, it's not like he just disappears. He just keeps talking to people, even though that's what they do every time.
So Mary says, but maybe the audience doesn't know this. And I understand where you're coming from, but the job of the interviewer is to try to make everyone's job happy. It's like when a lot of people shit on us for doing this job, it's like, it is a difficult one that we're attempting to do. We're not the best at it. We're trying to get better, but there's so many variables we're playing at the exact same time in real time, right? Because you, as the interviewer, you have to appease that, right? The gaps of information, but you also have to know, like, is this going to derail the conversation entirely by bringing this thing up, right? It's your job to know all of these things. So much like he said, he's not an unreasonable person. He had said, if something just recently had happened or there's a current story or a reason to bring it up, then I'll answer the question. But if you're just leading with this because you know it's the highest profile brand thing you can talk about for you to get more clicks is what they're thinking, that's laziness.
Super fair. Super fair.
So that's like, I get where Mary's saying, and I'm sure that is the excuse that interviewer would have made.
Totally.
Is my audience doesn't know this stuff, right? It's like, but your job is to know that this is going to piss the guy off.
Oh, man. Fantastic. The next piece, this is something that I saw, and I thought it was worth sharing with people so that we can see a little bit how the internet is shaping up. I also just wanted to show you this, Ben, in case you didn't see it. This guy, Kevin Shu, is making $120,000 a month from X subscriptions.
Twitter people are rich, bro.
My goodness. Let's hear him talk about this.
I turned on X subscriptions because I thought it might help me with the algo. Like, that's it. And I set it at the highest price because I didn't want anyone to actually buy.
How much was the price?
I set it at $200
a month.
Yeah. And I didn't have any content. I was like, I don't want to post like subscriber only content. I don't want this like, extra, thing to do. Right. And then like, one person subscribed, two persons subscribed accidentally. I asked them like, what do you want? They're like, oh, I'm just happy to support. I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. And then 20 people subscribed, and then 100 people subscribed, and a couple hundred people subscribed.
How many people do you now have subscribed to you?
I think people are going to go crazy about it.
And this is the most transparent financial influencer on X, right?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, repeat that. Okay, I'm the most transparent financial. So I need to show this now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I can show you my Creator Studio subscriptions panel.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh.
About 600.
It's glitching for me. What's going on? Keith's Wi-Fi went. Yeah, because I'm like, is this a me problem? What are y'all seeing, chat? Because for me, it's talking like a robot, and Keith is frozen like the cat. But how y'all doing? And I will say that I do think that I don't think necessarily. I think this says a few things. Like, one, it makes the point that I was saying before about how a lot of the money is on Twitter. It also shows you how separated the economy is in terms of. I doubt that guy was sharing anything that crazy or that valuable, and they're paying $200 a month. It shows you the difference in terms of experiences. But I do think that a lot more people should invest into the creators that they believe in. The problem is that a portion of it right now goes to the platforms in which they don't. right? So I think that a lot more people should get accustomed to wanting to pay for the content that they believe in, but try to do it in places where less of it goes to the things they don't. And here comes back Keith. Welcome back in. And can y'all see? There he is. What's up? What's up?
Cool. Sorry. Yeah. I
All good,
do
man.
need a Starlink. But anyway, I thought that was super interesting that in 2 months he was able to get that much revenue, but it definitely goes back to your point, Ben, of people just having money on X, bro.
That's what I was saying. And
Put it
also
on.
just shows you the K-shape economy.
True.
Right? Because to think about, they have that much money, where I doubt he's sharing anything that crazy in this private content, and where it's that much of a throwaway for you to do $200, right? Like that's not a relatable experience to most people.
Not at all, dude. Just a casual $200 a month. Also, this is for financial information, right? So,
Yes. So
they're also getting some level of edge.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I get why. Yeah, Keith, you're frozen. We can hear you, but you're frozen.
Yeah.
Oh, you're back. I think you're back. Or you moved to a different frozen state. So I can still hear you though, so don't stress. But if you want to try jumping back in, feel free to do whenever you want. But you're still moving a little bit.
Let's see.
Because Chad said that Ansem raised his subscription price to $200 a month. That's super fascinating. So Ansem is another crypto creator. They run a very similar show to ours. We were first though. I do think it's funny when crypto does come back. That I think it'll be like us and them as the two big shows, to be honest. Oh, we lost Keith again.
Super fair. I just tried to turn it off and turn it back on. Am I still frozen?
No, it seems like you're moving just a little pixelated, but that's totally fine. I can still see that you're beautiful.
Somebody said, like, these guys are making money independently from X or something, or somebody was asking how the subscriptions work. I don't even see it. Oh, BAPN said confused. He gets subscriptions independently like YouTube. No, more like people are paying a monthly price. Like the subscribers is another monetization method on Twitter.
Basically a membership that you would do for YouTube. So like Keith has members perks where if you become a member of his channel, you get access to exclusive content that way. So it's the same sort of thing being done on Twitter. So if it's my understanding is correct, Twitter makes a percentage of all of that money.
Totally. So this next piece is makes a Rick and Morty video. They posted a 36-second Rick and Morty style animated video. It features a floating MAGA hat, Diet Coke, Trump waving from a balcony, and these sci-fi portals. The caption is "Hop in, best dimension yet." Let's see what happened here. This was pretty viral.
It's lagging again. Maybe I should try to share. What's that?
And I was just nervous about the music too. I don't really know how protected that match is. Pretty protected.
Cool. Do you want me to try to share?
Yeah, you can try to share it. It's also, I don't know. I don't have too much to say on it.
Oh, good. I just meant like the thing period. Cause it seems like your Wi-Fi is bugging.
Right.
Let me see if I can help share. Okay. And how do you make it full screen? Okay, cool. I think I should be able to now. Which one were we on?
This was the White House Rick and Morty video.
Cool. And you said it wasn't worth going to?
Yeah, it's fine.
Cool.
The next thing was the first U.S. duress password change. So what I'm thinking is happening here, from what I'm able to see, is that apparently the first known U.S. case where an American was charged for using a duress password. An Atlanta resident is being prosecuted for giving border agents a passcode that wiped his phone.
Wow.
The feature comes from Graphene OS, a privacy-focused Android OS. Entering the duress code triggers a full factory reset. This is believed to be the first time federal prosecutors have brought such charges. The incident happened in January 2025 at the Atlanta airport. Agents demanded access to his phone without a warrant, saying he hadn't yet officially entered the U.S., When they entered the code, the phone wiped itself. Tunick has pleaded not guilty. His lawyers argued the seizure was unlawful and that agents were investigating his activism against Cop City. So the case raises big questions about digital rights at the US border. What do you think?
I had seen another creator talking about this as well, where rules or laws are getting changed or potentially being changed, where they could basically ask to look at your phone without any sort of warrant. So that's pretty insane to think about. And I think, yeah, it's scary, right? And how much of it is truth, I don't know. But definitely, like, also, like, what are they trying to find? They say as long as it's a threat to national security that they're able to just do it, but they use that justification for so many other things. So that what that is, and also who's defining security, like there's so many things there where a lot of power is being given. So it's definitely scary.
Yeah. I'm also not clear on what the charges are. Like, what are you charging this guy with? Is it obstruction of justice? It's because the problem with this is that, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing for me to think about what laws are actually being broken. But anyways, that's all I got on that one. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, man, I'm good.
Cool. So apparently, we had a Bitcoin heat brew Aussie beer. That didn't make sense to me. But an Australian brewery, it's a hard word for me, uses excess heat from solar-powered Bitcoin miners to brew beer. 16 miners in liquid, and they're heating to 90 degrees Celsius to supply hot water for production. And the setup is earning $2,000 a month and supports 100,000 liters of beer per month as well. So this turns Bitcoin mining and the heat from it into a practical, lower carbon brewing resource.
It's fascinating. Is there a video?
Yeah, if you right click on it and open a new tab and then share the new tab, it'll allow us to.
I'll have to share the new tab. It's this thing, right?
I have to stop to do it. Yeah.
Thinking outside the box on energy efficiency.
I definitely gonna mute this because this just seems littered with they're gonna flag us. The second someone talks and sounds like that, I'm like, oh, they're gonna flag us. So fascinating concept. I guess not really worth showing you, but I don't want to get the whole video demonetized. But here is the example of the brewery. And can you explain a little bit more about what this really is?
Well, I have no idea.
So essentially,
but it sounds to me.
Okay, go ahead.
Like they are, they were mining Bitcoin, and then there's excess heat that's coming from the Bitcoin mining, and then that heat is being converted into whatever is needed for brewing.
Totally. So to brew beer, there's an energy cost there, right? A lot of the shit talking against Bitcoin is the fact that there is the energy cost. It's bad for the environment. Okay, and so now they're saying, look, we're doing the Bitcoin mining thing, and then we're also using the offset heat from doing it to also have some other sort of use case. So it's a good feel-good story for Bitcoiners as well. Very interesting.
Yep.
Cool. I'll go back to the other one. The doc here. Got so many freaking tabs. That's the end of it?
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
so we can jump into community.
Pure memes.
Oh, pure memes. Okay, yeah.
Just the funny stuff. Yeah. Can you hear that?
No, I cannot. Is it on the sheet? I'll continue to do it. Your Wi-Fi's cooked.
Word. Yeah, it's on the sheet though, on the second half doc.
Okay, I'll have to go find that.
I'm trying to get the link.
First half. Is it linked in the first half doc? I don't think it is, right?
No, I've sent it to your text, but I don't know how long that's going to take either.
I got it.
See. Cool.
Thank you for bearing with us as we experience technical opportunities. Okay. So news and then memes. Okay, cool. So okay, I'll try to. It's really hard for how my computer is set up to share these quickly.
Because of the monitor and stuff.
Yes. So here's one. Does it need any context, Asipa, or just let it fly?
Yes. So the context here is you're having a politician is reading a legislator, and if you pay close attention, you'll notice that this has probably been written not by him. I'll just leave it there. Let's let it roll.
Got it.
That exceed the powers
Can you hear it?
actually granted
Yes, sir.
to those
Oh, I can
offices.
barely hear it.
Here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points. Madam Speaker, one of my concerns with this legislation is the potential gap that exceed the powers actually granted to those offices.
So what
barely
he's
hear it.
saying here is that he's, quote, here's a more natural flowing version of that section that reads like a legislative speech rather than a series of short points, and then goes on to continue reading. So it was very clear that this was probably written by some sort of an AI. And so that was what that was right there. It was some
Love it.
Canadian politician doing that.
Very good. Cool. I'll go to the next one here.
Cool.
Share a different screen here.
By the way, I do these very discretionarily. So
Eggs watching the rest of the fridge from their private balcony. That's a good one.
Because eggs are expensive, guys. It took me a second there. All right. The next one is Gabriel.
Are you able to share it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I would share it if I were you, because it's a Wi-Fi.
Okay. It's just a royal pain in the ass switching between these. I'm only going to show a few of these because this is a pain in the ass. So we'll show this one here.
I have been in an NFT cocoon for the.
So this is a guy who's impersonating Gary Vee, I think. And because Gary Vee, whenever he gets obsessed with something, he goes into a cocoon or he locks it and he consumes as much information as he can to best take advantage of something that he thinks is forward looking. And so it sounds like this guy is like poking fun at him.
And I would play the original clip first too, because Gary Vee also does make some interesting points.
Okay.
7 to 10 week. I'm in a very weird place right now. I've been in a 7 to 10 week cocoon around the collectibles industry becoming collecting becoming the next lifestyle genre.
Yeah.
And so like my consumption of anything happening in pop culture is at an all-time low the last 2 months, because I've been in the lab on this thesis that I've been on for about 8 years that I think is about to completely blow the roofs off of. Like, for example, let me give you, for instance, to give you even more color, again, always try to think about how to bring value to this smart show. We've started at VaynerMedia a collectibles marketing division, just like Coca-Cola started a sports marketing division when the Olympics were getting important as a driver to consumption. I believe in 10 years, every Fortune 500 consumable product, apparel, CPG, will have a collectibles marketing strategy. I don't know if you guys saw lines around the door at Popeye's Chicken for the One Piece collectible, people flooding to a Dodgers game to get the One Piece collectible. I think that in differentiation in an AEO, GEO, agentic commerce world, differentiation around collectibles and community to get people to stop their normal pattern of what they're just reordering because they want to buy a deodorant that has a collectible of their favorite. I just see collectibles eating up because of what it means for community and analog and value and investment.
Yeah, and AI creates is going to continue to create insane abundance. Like one example is everyone can have a SaaS product now. You can make it.
Everyone will.
Everyone will.
Railway. Railway is the all-in-one intelligent.
So yeah, so that's the OG clip. And then Gabriel, I mean, he really doesn't say anything that's like actually that funny. He kind of just copies him.
I have been in an NFT cocoon for the past 7 to 10 weeks. I have spent literally every waking hour researching NFTs and collectibles. And I believe that there will be an NFT boom in the next 1 to 2 years. There was an NFT boom in the past, but that was just the initial hype cycle. I was early to CryptoPunks and I sold them at the peak. But now I'm getting back in because I believe that in the future, soon, Fortune 500 companies will have NFT collectibles as their primary marketing strategy. Have you seen people lining up to spin the gacha at Fake World Assets? They're not buying Pokemon cards, which I also love, but they are buying NFTs. And they're not doing it in order to speculate. They're doing it because they love collectibles. And I believe that in the future,
So yeah, that's that.
Yeah, I don't even think that
And then
Gary
there's
would,
a few
would get offended by that because that's like what he would say pretty much.
Totally.
There's a few what, sorry?
So there's a few other just memes that I'll pull up because they're not videos. But then there's one other one that I do want you to show a little bit later. It's the one Gabriel FWA. Do you see that one on the sheet?
I'll go back and look.
So yeah, while you're doing that, I'll just go through some of these other ones. So let me see real quick. Apple just solved the biggest problem in AI. Keep your agents running 24/7 with a $200 thing to keep your computer like propped open. That's interesting. That's very interesting.
No, we can see it. We couldn't see it for a while.
Oh, okay. Can you see this?
To keep your agents running 24/7. I see that.
That's all you see. That's frustrating.
Okay.
The next one, I can even just say it out loud. It says, a real question. If my mic is off, how does Google Meet know that I'm talking? Something's not right here.
That's very true.
Very, very, very true. Super true, man. Don't really think about that, but it's always there.
Totally true.
This next piece, I guess it's about NVIDIA, because Jensen Huang put out an article about why open models are so important. And then Denny's, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I think so.
The Venn diagram here of Denny's and NVIDIA, both knowing the importance of staying open. Denny's put out this tweet. 10 million views on this one.
That's
a bit
great.
Of a banger. So I thought that was pretty funny.
Super good.
Sharing. And then this guy also said, both sell chips as well. I don't know if Denny's really sells chips, but funny concept.
That's great. Do you want me to share that one now?
One other one. I just saw my password as some Twitter username, according to this user here.
Can't see your screen.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think I'll just share. So you want me to show this guy, Gabriel, right? This one?
Yeah, so it's scroll up a little bit too, so you can see the OG of what he's responding to.
This one?
He's explaining
fake world.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted you to see that that's what it is. He's explaining fake world assets to his wife. And so essentially this was a lot related to the conversation we were having earlier with MKAndy about how apparently there's this crypto project here where it's a collectibles thing where you rip packs and it's but they're called fake world assets versus real world assets.
That's hilarious.
Kind of like play maybe the second clip, I guess.
Yeah, I've been seeing this pop off in the NFT world and I felt like something like this would come to take advantage of the whole mechanism of card ripping. So I'm sure he'll explain it.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be ripping some fake world assets, all right? Let's get that CryptoPunk, baby. Come on, let's get that CryptoPunk. All right, give me good luck, Come on. Oh, okay, it's fine. 10,000 token, it's fine. We're saving Ethereum. It's okay. Let's go for another spin. Come on. I'll take a pudgy, I'll take a doodle. Come on. Give me something good. Come on. Come on, gods of Ethereum. Come on. Come on. Give me something good. Give me something good. Oh, shit. God damn it. God. Okay. Last one. Last spin. Last spin. We're going to make it all back with one spin. Give me a punk. Give me a goddamn punk. Okay. Come on. Come on. Give me that goddamn crypto punk over here. What the fuck is that? A literal piece of shit? Ladies and gentlemen, today we will be...
We got to provide some context in terms of what's going on there. So the brands that he was saying, those are more expensive NFT projects. And so what this whole thing is doing is it's basically being like Pokemon cards, but for NFTs. So if you own, say, like a really expensive NFT, you can put it on this platform and it be potentially won by someone who's pulling these packs. So when people are pulling packs or whatever, they know that there's the opportunity to win this high profile NFT. And so it's a lot like a lottery system. They're playing a game.
Interesting. Very interesting. Cool.
Yeah. People are roasting him for his no shirt. Brand one said those boobs should be blurred. Please just wear a shirt next time. Y'all are evil.
Yeah, that's a big part of his brand, man. It's actually kind of wild. Yeah.
Cool, man.
So, yep.
Do you want to go into the community section?
That's it for now. Just community.
Let's finish it out with community. Are you there?
Fantastic, folks. Cool. So we had a podcast episode on Thursday, and we had the Paul Kidrowski with us, and we talked about, oh, dang, you know what?
Are you sharing your screen?
No, I'm not. Cool. But I can try. So we talked about AI and whether or not it's a bubble and what happens after the AI bubble pops. We answered one of these questions from Israel, which is when these crypto exchanges go down, do the customers get their money back? We talked about that earlier today. Sterlakini made a comment about Elizabeth Warren. Whoever's responsible for voting her in needs a brain checked. I'm so tired of the cryptos only for criminal activity. Got news for you, lady. Criminals gonna do criminal things, whether it's stock, crypto, coins, cash, doesn't matter. So can we please stop with the BS narrative that crypto is only for criminals? She sounds like the same idiot saying we need more gun laws, like the criminals were following the laws to begin with. There really needs to be age limits and term limits on other seats in the government. Time to get that old hag out of here. All right. All she does is spew her opinion with no factual evidence to support it. Well, we've definitely got some beef with Elizabeth Warren. For sure, I felt bad. I felt dirty reading that. And then Timothy's Cloud said, comment, where did all the comments go? I think that's actually kind of valid. There's no comments on this, which to me is kind of weird.
I think it was done when the live stream chat hadn't uploaded yet. So
that's when he was saying that.
That's when it was said. So it could be that they thought, like, you guys are referencing all these comments or chats. Where are they? Kind of thing. It wasn't on the video yet. And there's something else you wanted to bring up during the community section, you said.
Well, yeah, no, just I had a conversation with Age of Abundance, and I'm now officially a Bitcoin maxi.
Is that official?
Oh, it's official.
Share why.
Yeah, so there's a few important things that I think I've always had against it that he provided some good answers to, and I'm not officially a Bitcoin maxi, but like I'm definitely much more Bitcoin maxi than I ever have been. And the reason is because, so one of the things that I've always had is the concentration of the Bitcoin, and that should only continue to some degree. And the thing that he helped me think about is, like, in reality, like if you're in a Bitcoin standard, at least, you have to, like, you naturally get to where you're just distributing the Bitcoin. Like, even if you have a lot of it, you need to pay for things, right? If you're in a Bitcoin standard. So it would naturally redistribute itself. You got something?
Yeah, no, you're cutting in and out a lot, so I'm just not trying to cut you off. You may want to turn off your camera. That may help your audio. But yeah, could you distribute? Can you explain a little bit more practically, like what you're referring to?
Yeah. So Bitcoin is centralized in my eyes in terms of the ownership of it. Very few wallets hold the majority of the Bitcoin. Like the wealth inequality in Bitcoin is worse than it is in fiat today, as it stands. Just facts. But if you're over time, if you're using Bitcoin as money, then you would have to spend your Bitcoin. And therefore, that would naturally flow that Bitcoin back into the economy and it wouldn't become as concentrated. Because you don't have a way to print the Bitcoin the way that you can just print new money and you get that new money as it's being printed.
So the only way you could keep it consolidated is if you bought nothing, like
Exactly.
centralized. So if you naturally, if this becomes the mechanism of exchange, the only way you would not be able to send it back is if you exchange nothing, which
Exactly.
in a consumer economy, that seems pretty difficult to do.
Yeah. So that was an interesting thought for me that helped me think, okay, so I'll tell you guys why I'm not done with this and why it's like, okay, cool. But very good point there. And I love that. And then the other thing that because my thing is like, okay, how do we get to the point to where, like right now, it's still going to be concentrated. Like Michael Saylor's, like what happens to Michael Saylor's? Because like he's going to buy all the Bitcoin. He's going to buy more and more Bitcoin, right? And so these two worlds do still exist at the same time. You still have fiat and Bitcoin at the same time. And so what he's trying to say is, what he says is that these manipulative tactics that fiat money uses, like just period, even now, it creates this wealth inequality that creates pushback. Like if we don't change anything, people are going to at some point, right? Like revolt. And so, and the same thing would happen with all of these mechanisms that are built on top of Bitcoin. Eventually, you'll have these moments where even just like the bubbles that are being created, they snap back. So what he said is that you get to where you have too many paper claims on Bitcoin for the actual Bitcoin that there is. And essentially you have an event that liquidates those people, right? They blow up and then the
take the price
Bitcoin
too.
goes back into circulation. And then, so that's helpful. And then what was another big piece for me? I was like, but something that we definitely still, I think he agrees with is like you've brought up tons of times, is like, okay, so when there's a problem, you have the forking mechanism, right? Okay, but then if that's the case, then what matters is public opinion. What matters is belief. And so as you brought up multiple times, and I tell him I'm thinking through your lens, then you have to have decentralized social.
Yeah, so
you have to have a way. Oh,
you're good. You're good. Keith just said, because it was a very important part. Keith said you have to have decentralized social media, and then you said you have to have a way. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying you'd have to have a way to get the truth, which would still be subjective in my eyes,
of course,
to the right people. Like your version of Bitcoin needs to get to that so that you guys all move together into this new Bitcoin world every time that there needs to be a fork. But I was like, but like in my eyes, that continues to lead to just like, I was like, this sounds to me like straight up like wars that are happening. Like, so then the question becomes, does this actually make the world a better place? Once again, if this is the direction that we're moving in, which is still something that I don't know that I have an answer to that.
Yeah, you can't know it. And it's the analogy of wars, at least in terms of psychological warfare. I do think that is pretty apt. And I think that's also like, we're very privileged in terms of we don't live in physical violence as much in terms of like warfare around us in the West, at least, but we're in psychological warfare every day.
True.
Right. So I don't even think that would be anything too new. Like we've already been in a warfare. Why is the world so messed up? It's because people are already doing that. So yeah, I think the points, I listened to the whole conversation and I would say I sit pretty similar to where you are, is that I definitely wouldn't consider myself a Bitcoin maxi because of the limitations that we've discussed. So unless there's a rapid improvement in these layers that they always refer to, but I also think there's a good chance for them, simply because they've reached more of a critical mass, right? And are we running out of time for something to take place? like you've said, kind of deal. And Brand One says 4.4% of the world owns Bitcoin. That number doesn't seem huge, but that is huge. That's that's even more than I would have thought.
I mean, it's almost 1 in every 20 people on the planet to some degree. So it's interesting. Like if you walk into a room of 20 people on the planet, somebody owns Bitcoin. That's pretty interesting.
That seems high.
But
I wouldn't even guess that it was that high.
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And also, wait, Bitcoin too. Does it say Bitcoin? Is that what he said?
I think he said Bitcoin.
Because that is also bigger. Yeah, Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That's also a lot for just Bitcoin too.
That's
if that's what you meant.
Yeah, if that's what it meant, because that's a big percentage, man. And I don't think we're far away from the normie people talking about the money system itself and money itself, like Sean Ryan, Tucker, Candace. Like I don't think we're far from a lot of those people starting to talk about the money system itself, and then all it takes is one or two of them to talk about it. It get a ton of views, where then it becomes the topic.
Right.
So
yeah. So yeah, what was another big point, man? There was some good stuff, man. Oh, but what I loved was like his picture of the world. If there was a Bitcoin standard and what he says, right? Like it's like, all right, we've got this world where like energy is essentially money. And you just live in a world in stage of abundance where like instead of focusing on like making money, like everything just comes down to how do we like just I don't know, like make the world better. And energy becomes currency essentially because of the way that Bitcoin is.
It's a beautiful thought, and it's one that I would love to at least see, right? And the concept is one that I think could be attractive, right? And so essentially the argument there is that the only reason you have to put your money into any sort of asset is because money's never actually been a store of wealth itself, which is pretty insane, right? Because even to think of like, why do we need gold as a store of value? It's because money's not a store of value. So then in turn, if money becomes the very store of value, holding on to it makes it worth more tomorrow than it is today, which means that this hamster wheel that we're on of constantly having to work, that's because we're in a debt-based system where the prices continue to go up. And it's not possible because so much of the wealth is consolidated to so few for our wages to rise with the level of increasing prices. It's just not possible, nor do the people who have all the money care. And they have all the leverage. So they're like, yeah, okay, deal with it kind of deal. And there is obviously going to be a spillover point eventually. But for right now, it's like the top 10% of the economy is still able to consume as much on a dollar figure to keep the whole numbers associated with the growth of the economy continue going up. So imagine a world where the money you made from work this year is worth more every year. Like that does change the entire world.
Right.
In terms of buying power,
100%.
right?
Yeah. And then so Jay Heron said, energy is money, and the fastest and most reliable secured money will end up on top. Yeah. So that's another thing that kind of came out of the conversation with too, is like, I think those are two different things. Like rather, there's two different problems that crypto actually can solve. One of them is money. And the other one is the transfer of value. Those don't have to be the same thing. And Bitcoin currently proves that it's not that thing. It is not that at the moment. Right?
Explain.
It's not the cheapest, fastest way to send money.
No.
It just isn't. And so that's why stable coins, for instance, are still very interesting. And why you probably see more adoption of those, because it is a real use case to be able to send money that cheaply, that quickly to anywhere. Bitcoin does not solve that problem right now. And but so in that brings me back to like, okay, so does that mean that there's no value for anything outside of Bitcoin? Does that mean that Bitcoin is the only use of blockchain? Does that mean that it's the only one that captures the value of blockchain? Because I'm talking about payments right now, but then there's also all these other things. And then it was a really fun conversation. I mean, because my thought was data. Like, what about all the data? Because I think about Chainlink and how valuable it would be to be able to connect all of this data into a blockchain and to be able to have financial transactions that run on the world's data. And I'm like, okay, so that's just worth nothing. Or is that even potentially more valuable than this Bitcoin thing? And it was super cool conversation, man, because what he made me think about is, what if the only reason that Chainlink really needs to be used is because of Bitcoin basically pushing the entire financial system toward the need for decentralization, period. Because if you think about it, right, like if fiat money is going to compete with Bitcoin, it needs to be more transparent. Like that's one of the things that it could do.
Yeah, it's not working.
People need
So they
to
got to
know.
pitch something. Yeah,
totally. And so that's Chainlink is kind of like that response. If you really dig deep and think about it from that deeper level, like Chainlink is that response to fiat needing a way to be more transparent, and it allows that. Because the question was, the example that came up was Michael Saylor's Bitcoin reserves. Like, we don't actually really know. Like, and he was like, you don't need Chainlink to verify that. You could just have the wallet out in the open and like have us be able to check the wallet, and that's fair. But you could also have other ways of attesting to it, and for anything, right? Because it's not just this Bitcoin too. It's also fiat money. It's like attest to the fiat money being in the place that it's supposed to be for stable coins, for instance. Are the treasuries that are backing these stable coins actually in that bank account? Chainlink makes that possible to prove it, that is. And so to prove it without trust, without having to trust some other party. And so anyways, the conclusion to that conversation for me was, if Bitcoin is the answer, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have these other things be crazy valuable in terms of US dollars before that time. And therefore, in my eyes, why wouldn't I take advantage of that to then go buy more Bitcoin?
Yeah. And I think that's always been my thesis or argument with it. And then I think the counter to that would basically be, like, you could also get royally screwed that way too, potentially, like by trying to time that, right? Like they always say you can't time the market. And so that does seem like you're attempting to do so. Like I'm saying, myself included in that. I'm not saying that you are saying that. I'm saying like that's just the reality of it. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating thing to take place, but it's one that if we happen to choose the right things, the world could look pretty radically different. And so that's something that keeps me getting up in the morning with some positivity, is the fact that that's even a thing, right? Where that's something that we actually potentially get to participate in. And that should also allow your existence to inherently have a lot more meaning too. Because I think a lot of people feel like there's a meaning crisis, because if you're not a winner financially, you feel like you're a loser. But even your attention in this coming thing will play a very major role. Right. So like, even if you've got no money, you've got a voice, you've got a brain, you've got a heart. Right. So spending the time learning the things that really matter, maybe some of the most important things that have ever happened. Right. To really understand and make an educated decision, and also educate other people in your life that will eventually have to listen.
Love it, man. That's spot on.
Cool.
Yep.
Sweet. Well, that's everything. I got to pull my challenges for No Dice 45, which is a very timely suggestion. We should talk about this way earlier because no one's going to be here besides the live people. Nothing's on stage yet. What's going on? It's glitching out. But we built No Dice 45 to help break the toxic cycle that people have with gambling and then with their phone in general, with social media. And No Dice 45 is our challenge that allows you to have behavior swaps for a 45-day period. And if you go through that challenge, I can guarantee you your life will get better and your relationship to your phone or to gambling will dramatically improve. And so today I have to do a 10-minute breathwork session. Talking is difficult, which is conducted by Keith himself. And then no doom scrolling. So I got to keep the apps blocked that I have agreed to have blocked. I got to go exercise for 45 minutes. I got to reach out to someone that I haven't talked to in a while. And I have to read 10 pages of a book that will help me grow. That's what I got today.
Fantastic. I'm about to pull them right now.
Pull it.
Awesome. I've got to say hi to 5 people.
Decision, and also
can and read 10 pages and meditate.
Love it.
That's my day.
Love it. And also with this app, the fact that it blocks them, and we keep track of every time that you go beyond the blocking. So basically, if you try to unblock it, if you've added an accountability partner, they'll get notified. So that's one great way to stay with your goals if you've set them. But even for yourself, you'll be able to have to see how many times you're going back for the app, right? So one thing I've been saying for my one buddy who has a gambling problem but won't admit it, I'm like, hey, use the app, block them. Let me see you block them, and let's see how many times you go in there. Because a lot of people, they're so accustomed to reaching for their phone as an appendage, as we've talked about. And for some people, that's the gambling thing. And so like putting a name to it, right? Like I went to my phone or tried to this many times can really allow you to connect to the fact that there is actually a problem here. And this thing's controlling you more than you're controlling it. So that's a big reason why we built it.
Love that, man. It's spot on. Super real. When you make it real things happen.
That's it, man. That's it. And we're adding in more features to that thing every single week. So it's going to be, we're going to do everything we can to make this the best app that we possibly can to allow you to stick to your goals and to break the bad habits that are holding you back from them. But that's, so yeah. And then a great way you can help is go download it for free and then take the free courses. Keith has made some courses in there that are completely free about gambling education in terms of like how they get you hooked, how it all works. And then also personal finance 101. Some of the best personal finance education on the internet we have for free in there that you can access exclusively through the No Dice app. So go give that some consumption time. I think you'll be happy you did. And then if you end up liking the app, leave us a rating. It helps us out more than you can possibly know.
Check it out, folks.
Cool.
In the description down below, there's a link.
Awesome.
Get in there.
Amazing. Well, thank you to producer Sharp in the background. I appreciate RD for holding it down in the chat as always. How are you now? BAPN, Jay Huron, welcome back. We appreciate having you all here. Esco. Yeah. Chad, appreciate all of y'all.
Y'all take it easy. Have and Thomas, we will say a prayer for your mom. And everybody make today the best day of your life, folks.
That's it. That's it. Be the light that you want to see, and we'll see all of you on Thursday. Have a good one.